Greetings, good people. How you guys doing? Okay. How you guys doing? Okay. Kitan. Good to see you, my friend. Hold on, let me bring the comments, okay? I was just goofing around over here, trying to where are my comments? Let me see. No, I was trying to fix something over here, but the demons have been showing up. Okay. So we're just going to do this one. All right. We're just going to do this one. Anyway, guys, I'm so glad that you guys are here. How are you guys doing? How was church? What was the message? What did the pastor preach about? Did you make it to church? Okay. So type it in. Type it in. Type it in. All right, guys. So we'll get right into it. I did this video earlier on during the week, but I think some other people didn't see it because we just got carried away. It was all the way at the end. So there has been, some postings over here. All right. Lady Sunday in the building. What's up, my friend? How you doing? Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you, my friend. So I'm so confused that I don't know. Like, do we just think differently over here at Berean Babes? Like how other people think? I have no clue. I have no idea. So there has been this audio, okay, that Julie Royce put out. Okay, according to her, she spoke to this lady, and then this lady is saying that on Joni's deathbed, she was told. I can't even believe that I'm actually saying this, okay? So this is how things went down, okay? This gentleman, let me pull him up. So, how am I doing this? Hold on, guys. Where are we? I can't even see. All right. Where is this? Okay, sorry. Okay, here. Oh, yeah, clear. You guys cannot even see, right? Oh, man, what is it? So what's going on in here right now? I want to show you guys the picture of the person in question, okay? So this is what has transpired. Oh boy. Oh my goodness. Oh, all right, guys. It can't, don't worry, okay? I'll fix it because you guys, you need to see this person. This is what I was doing, okay? So I wasn't even able to be on camera because the demons showed up while I was doing this. But I'm like, we are not going to be deterred. We will not be deterred, okay? So hold on, guys. We are fixing it right in front of you. So just bear with us. So the gentleman at the end of this, the gentleman here, Tom Callender, okay? So this is how the story went, okay? Oh, I need to share it on the other, because I think other people are watching on the, on this. All right. So the gentleman all the way at the far end, Tom Callender, okay? Tom Callender had a, the audio might be AI, but okay. See, I thought it was me that I'm being AI. Anyway, so the gentleman at the far end, okay, from left to right, you're going to see the name is actually there, Tom Callender. Tom Callender, this is what is being presented by this lady, okay? Tom Callender is it 3 weeks or 2 weeks before Joni passed away, he spoke to Joni Lamb. Okay? And when Tom Callender spoke to Joni Lamb, Joni, according to the story, Joni got up, put makeup, and sat down and told Tom Callender that if Jonathan apologizes, reconciles with his siblings, then Jonathan should be given Daystar. Okay? And this lady has come out and testified as such. So I'm sitting here, I'm like, okay, so one, you are telling me that Joni Lamb lives across from the street with Jonathan. She was able to get up, she was able to put on makeup, and spoke to Tom Callender that if Jonathan repents, Jonathan should be given Daystar. Okay? So Joni was not able to speak to the lawyer. They have an in-house lawyer. Okay? This John Lynch is Daystar lawyer. Arnold Torres is a CFO. So however you want to cut the cake, right? Joni was worth $40 million, okay? So we know that she can afford a lawyer. So Joni did not speak to a lawyer to tell that lawyer that Jonathan should get Daystar. And Joni knew she was dying. She could not have reached out to Jonathan. Okay, let's just say fine, maybe for some reason she was not able to reach to Jonathan. But John was not able to reach out to Rachel and Rebecca and sit them down as witnesses. So the person spoke to Tom Callender. Tom Callender was there when Jonathan was born. How come Tom Callender did not go directly himself to Jonathan to go and deliver this message? But this message was represented via a third party. Does that make sense to you guys? Is this even like making sense? So I'm thinking, so right now, the YouTube, everybody, Joni left Daystar to Jonathan. So here, I want you guys to look at this, okay? So I'm going to read it to you, then I'll explain to you what's happening over here, okay? If Mary Colbert is a friend of Joni, I want to make sure I have audio. Okay. If Mary Colbert is a friend of Joni's, whose voice was disguised to hide her identity in the Roy's report, and Tom Callender sent this text to her, why did the interview get posted at all? Does Tom still hold a position of authority with Daystar? See public records and comments. So this is the exchange that took place with a lady who has come out to present the information to Jonathan that your mom left instructions to Tom Callender on her deathbed that you should get Daystar. So take a listen to this. Good morning. As a survivor of assault as a child, my heart hurts for your daughter. It's demonic for sure. Child, the files struggle with the addiction. If he is guilty, corn of children will either be on his computer, or sell. They need to be seized quickly and check. The demon requires feeding. Prayers for you all. What the enemy means for evil, God will make it for good. Okay, so how can you seize someone else's computer? Even if they have the code on their computer, you need to have a warrant to seize someone else's computer. And that has to be, a judge has to sign a warrant given to the authorities, and the authorities have to seize the computer. Otherwise, you cannot just seize the computer. In fact, if you just seize the computer, right, it's not going to be admissible in a court of law. Why? You did not obtain using just means. But this is the advice that's been given over here, right? Remember, the quest is justice, right? So if you want to pursue justice, you have to pursue the means. They have to be godly, the means and the end. Be that as it may. Hey, Suzy, Dan and I would like to meet with you and Jonathan. Please, 1 hour is all we need. Let's meet this Friday at the office. No one will be there, just us. So the other message over here, it says Tom, okay? And May 20, okay? please correct your statement immediately that you spoke to the head of the board and that I said anything to you about what Joni's last wishes were. I did not share any such statement with you. Okay? So, Tom Calendar is the original source of this information that Joni left, okay, on her deathbed. And then Tom is saying, according to this text, assuming everything over here is up and up, it says, oh no, none of these things. I did not say any of these things. Please correct the record and everything else. So if your source has denied the information, why? And then this lady is asking, so why was the article put out? Okay, and Julie Rose put out the article. So you guys, you can make your own information. So what about this Tom? Okay, let's go back. Okay, so Tom was removed as an officer for Word of God Fellowship. Okay, so that's how Daystar is registered as. It does business as Daystar, but it's a God Fellowship Church, right? Months after an amendment was filed, that changed how the organization was structured. Okay, so this is a change that happened. Okay, so according to this change, you do have, I couldn't make it any bigger. Okay, I could not make it any bigger, but I'm going to read it to you guys. So I was just like, man, this is so, this is crazy, guys. Okay, let me, I have it. I'll find it for you guys, and I'll read to you the names that are there. All this information is public information, so it's not. It's not a big deal. Okay, so to me, the reason is just being okay. So this type of information, guys, is just so everywhere. So I'm like, okay, so are you guys purposefully choosing to be presenting information that like bad information or information that's just like, okay, why are you putting this information out here that anybody and their mama can just go and find out the actual can find out the actual information, you know what I'm saying, that's actually available publicly. Okay, so hold on here, guys, I'm trying to, and then my eyes are also not so good. Hold on. So here you have Tom Torres is the one who is listed. Okay, Tom Calendar is not listed in these documents. So my understanding from what this thing is showing, whatever position Tom Calendar has or, used to hold, looks like no longer holds those positions, okay? So this is state of Georgia, okay? And this was, what date is it? Filing date was March 7, 2022, okay? So according to this, right, officers of Daystar, registered officer, John, it says John Calendar, Lamb John T, and Marcus D. Okay, this was before, this was prior, right? And then they updated to above business information. So they changed it to those three officers, okay, John, Marcus, and John. And then the new officers are John Calendar, Arnold Torres, and John T. Lamb, okay? These are the authorized calendars, okay? Then, what does it say? It says, okay, so he says name is Gary Lamb. There must be one of their relatives over there, right? So he has John Calendar, John T., I guess John, what's the name? Joni, her middle name starts with a T, okay? So to me, that's to me, it's so quite kind of confusing, right? So it says Tom was removed from Daystar, and then you have here changing of the guard. So it does have other different names, okay, prior to the other people who were there. Be that as it may, okay? That's information that's just out there, okay? So now we have the email, right? I'm going to play for you guys a clip, okay? Jonathan keeps saying that the father said that he's going to take Daystar and everything. That is true. That was, he put that in an email. However, in February 2024, Daystar changed everything. Okay? And when they change, right, we've covered this, okay? It does not list the trustees. You can before they used to have permanent members, right? And it was Jonathan Lamb, Marcus Lamb, and John T. Lamb. John changed all that. Now they can have the maximum of 5, the minimum of 3. Okay? And Jonathan's name is nowhere to be found. So as far as the legal documents are concerned, Jonathan has no leg to stand on as far as Daystar is concerned. So Jonathan issued a statement, okay? So take a look at the statement. Oh, hold on. So this is the statement that Jonathan Lamb has put out, okay? Let's see. We should be able to read this statement. So Jonathan has put out this statement. So keep in mind, if I'm going to show you this statement, we're going to come back to this statement again after I play the clip I'm going to play for you guys, okay? Statement from Jonathan Lamb. Learning that my mother's dying wish was for me to return to leadership at Daystar is both healing and deeply confirming. The estrangement between us was one of the most painful seasons of my life. And knowing that her heart moved toward restoration in her final days brings me a peace I didn't expect to feel so soon. Her wish aligns with what my father communicated to our family and the board in his own succession plan. Both of my parents, hold on to the name board, okay? Both of my parents in their final days pointed in the same direction. Most importantly, it is a calling God planted in me when I was a child. This was never about ambition or title. It is about the faithfulness to a calling my parents recognized that I have never walked away from, even in the hardest moments. Families experience pain, relationships become strained, but God is big and His grace is greater than all of it. My desire is to honor my parents, to seek peace. Okay, hold on to these words, guys. My desire is to honor my parents, to seek peace where peace is possible, and to see Daystar flourish for generations to come. Okay, you can swipe next to the post direct. Oh, no, I want to read. Move that message, please. I can't even see now what he's saying. Okay. I can't even see. Look at this message that showed up over here. Anyway, okay. I trust the board will carefully consider the legacy my parents left behind and the future they hoped to secure. I remain ready to serve. Okay. So this is what Jonathan said. I don't know why he did that. Like, okay, go back to the top and then it will do, what is this? Okay, we are attempting to give you opportunity to learn and grow. So now, this is the issue that was issued from Daystar, okay? We understand that this may come as a disappointing news, but after extensive prayer and deliberations and evaluation, we are attempting to give you the opportunity to learn and grow from your errors, poor judgment, and actions taken that are detrimental to Daystar. So this was given to Jonathan. As an alternative to immediate termination of your employment, we expect and pray that this reassignment will serve as a valuable learning experience, and we encourage you to demonstrate your commitment to upholding the standards of our organization going forward. You have shown deficiencies in a number of areas, several of which justify immediate termination for cause. These include, for example, blackmail threats and breach of fiduciary duty. Okay, why? The stuff that's publicly available. Okay, that is number one. Failure to provide adequate executive oversight, poor teamwork or collaboration. Thirdly, violation of company policies or procedures. Fourth, insubordination, failure to demonstrate adequate leadership skill, lack of adaptability, and inadequate job knowledge or skills. So, what is going on in this situation, okay? Jonathan was removed from the board, okay? What are we doing here? So now we can't even go back. I have to... oh, my goodness, guys. Okay. All right. We'll survive as long as you can hear me, okay? We will survive. You know what I mean? Like, anyway, guys, don't worry about what's going on over here. We're going to survive, okay? As long as you can hear me, it's fine. Like I explained to you, the demons showed up, be that as it may. what is going on over here, okay? Jonathan was fired, okay? And they did not want to, after he was fired, while he was a vice president, they decided, you know what? Let's figure out something else to give him an opportunity. So that is the letter that I just read it to you. So I think he was made in charge, I don't know, was it cafeteria, something of that nature, and things did not go well. Then they immediately just write a letter to completely fire him. So Jonathan could have gone to a lawyer and be like, you know what, I was fired for, and just cause all these other things, right? So now I want you guys to listen. This is a video of and this was Jonathan himself recording himself. And guys, do you know what? He put out this information, right? These recordings and everything else. And now when you listen to these recordings, you'll be like, no wonder, Jonathan, they didn't want make you to be a president. You have no leadership skills. You are undermining the leadership. So as much as he thought he was going to put this type of information to hate Daystar, to hate his mom, it actually hurt him. So, I mean, like the irony of it all. Because if all these other things was never made to the public, people would be like, oh, why are you guys not putting Jonathan? Why are you sidelining Jonathan, this, that, and the third? So now, take a listen to Jonathan himself, right? In his own words. Okay? This is, all this now is actually making sense. So the idea that John is going to give you Daystar, after all this, it just doesn't make any sense. Especially, she was able to change the documents, legally speaking. She sold all her assets, put Rachel in charge of the executive of the will, as well as Rebecca. So Johnny forgot that she had a son by name of Jonathan. And yet, she disclosed, I have 3 children, Jonathan, Rachel, and Rebecca. But Johnny left all those other things, right, to Rachel, is the one who's going to be doing this, that, and the third. And all her finances were left in a trust. So if John wanted to leave Daystar to Jonathan, how come John did not put that in all these other legal documents while she was cleaning house? And then if this is what she wanted, she had no access to speak to people who were closer to Jonathan, but to Tom Callender, the guy who's actually denying everything. And by the way, Tom Callender also signed an NDA as far as Daystar is concerned. So even if he wanted to say something about Daystar, good and bad, he can't. Okay? Because he signed an NDA. The one that Jonathan refused to sign. So take a listen to what's happening over here, guys. Welcome. I'm so glad that you guys are here, okay? So let's go. We should be able... Wait a minute. I just fixed this, and then this is what happened. Can you guys understand what's going on over here? Anyway, we're not going to be deterred. The show will go on. Okay? With or without problems. Guys, oh my goodness. All right, you can hear the audio. Oh, sorry, guys. I just realized you can't even hear the audio. I apologize. I'll rewind it, okay? Oh, my goodness. What is happening? Okay. All right. I did the wrong thing. Now you should be able to hear the audio.
He said, that doesn't violate your religious beliefs.
Okay, I'll rewind it a little bit so you can hear. Sorry, guys. Okay, here we go, guys.
You have to be able to do that.
Of course.
And so as part of doing that, and we have to do that, this is just part of that. That's all that is. The events and what's transpired has opened up a whole Pandora's box to us. You know what? We don't want to see this happen again. Someone else could do this. I could do, so that's all. This is a very simple.
You want to see what happened again?
We just don't want to see programmers talk to. We don't want to see confidential information. That should be, we have the highest standard.
But we need to be able to actually define what was done, because at this point, I have no idea what you're even talking about.
You just know that he's, talking to programmers. And so we don't even get into all that. We just know enough that we've shared with John that.
Well, I have personal relationships with several programmers, so I mean, but
those are personal relationships, has nothing to do with Daystar in terms of your mother as the CEO and any of those things.
Right.
The viewer comment stuff and all is none of their business. It's none of their business.
Again, we should have never been put in the situation by her. She created this mess.
Absolutely every right to order you to read that statement.
That's wrong to start with.
That's what my whole email was trying to tell you. They had every right to demand that you read that statement, and if you didn't read it, they could have fired you, and it wouldn't have affected your religious beliefs. Now, that's where we're starting, okay? That everybody in this room thinks that's where we started. And your feelings were hurt, her feelings are hurt, everybody's feelings are hurt. It's family, so it's a different dynamic than it is in a pure corporate setting. But you're going to have to start thinking in terms of it was wrong to say no. Legally. It's not, your religious beliefs were not enough. I mean, your religious beliefs were not violated by reading somebody else's third-party statement. If you got up there and said, a third party wrote this, and here's what they said, that doesn't violate your religious beliefs. And that's what you were asked to do. The reason it upset you was because you have all this other stuff going on about being, not being happy with the marriage, not liking conduct divorce, and all this other stuff, and how it impacts you, and you thinking that, that you're entitled to have Marcus's seat. I mean,
Not entitled. That's what he said.
You have a right to get there, but it's not. You have a right to earn it, and you have.
No,
you have to.
He clearly said in his email, Jonathan Lamb will be the next president of Daystar when Joni Lamb retires.
Yeah, that's assuming that you do what you're supposed to do. That doesn't mean you can go out here like the prodigal son and do anything.
I have not been the prodigal son, Mom.
I'm listen to my example. I don't want to get into that.
Hey,
I'm just saying.
You're totally misrepresenting me. You have no idea the amount of patience and restraint I've had over the last few months. I could have totally have been the person that's trying to cause discord or speak to employees and say bad things about you, but I have purposely not done that.
Well, Jonathan, you can't do that.
Right. But what I'm saying is that I
restrained myself from doing something that would have got me fired instantly.
But what I'm saying is that being put in this impossible position, the Lord has given me the strength to.
What's impossible about it?
The letter I just read you.
So what you're hearing right now is Jonathan, okay, who is going back and forth with the lawyer, okay? So can you sense the sense of arrogance in Jonathan? The entitlement that I am going to own in Daystar, okay? So this is what's actually happening. So this was the board meeting they had with him, telling him, you have responsibilities to the board. Whatever relationship you have with your mom, that's a private matter that you can discuss with your mother at home. Over here, you are a vice president of Daystar. You have responsibilities. So you strong-arming your family affairs, you are undermining the responsibilities of Daystar. Okay? So Jonathan could not separate the mother Joni and the CEO Joni. So all those other things were what? Were actually mixed. So those things they can work well, or if they fail, they also fail badly. So now Joni is also dealing with an employee, but you're also dealing with the son. You see what I'm saying? So, this whole thing was a mess. So this is exactly what is transpiring. So we continue, guys. I am so glad that you guys are here, okay? We are not going to be deterred. The show must go on, okay? All right, guys, we continue. Here we go.
The situation that you're put in with the meeting with Jimmy.
Still has a job, driving a Daystar car. Suzy still has a job, hasn't worked, hasn't made any type of,
Yeah, so what's impossible about
Mom, you have completely broken everything.
Who came to your
You haven't. You've not tried. You've been.
Who came to their house, apologized, tried to love on them,
Mom,
how many times
Mom,
did we try to
this is your apology.
I thought we made tremendous.
Mom, it's all a game to you. It's not real.
Jonathan,
You measured her feet.
Mom, you went over and you said, I'm sorry, I just want to put everything that happened behind us, and then like 5 minutes later, you were showing her wedding photos. Like there was no you never owned anything as far as like what actually happened. There wasn't like you didn't actually care.
With this issue, man. So I actually have a picture where Joni went to the house, guys. This is so. Anyway, so I can just put it in the link. There's a picture of Joni went to the house, knocked, and they never opened the door for her. Okay, I actually did have. Muted. So I was saying, sorry guys, I was about to show you guys a picture where Joni actually went to the house, Jonathan and Suzy's house, because they have a Ring camera, and Joni was outside. The picture is there and stuff like that, but they didn't open the house for her. She went there. They didn't open the house for her, I guess. So they posted that picture. It's there because it shows that she was on the Ring camera. All right. So let's continue. All right, here we go, guys.
care to humble yourself to where she was able to receive that?
I have humbled myself and stayed quiet and tried to listen to wise counsel and follow the Lord. And these men here at this table can attest to that fact.
Mom, you have not done that.
John.
You, the next day after, you went to our friend and blindsided him.
I didn't blindside
Yes, you
him.
did. Hugh Hunt called and said, I have someone special that wants to meet you. Wasn't going to say who it was. And then he shows up at the lunch and there you are.
That was Hugh's idea. He wanted
That's
me to-
blindsiding
No, it
him.
wasn't
Because he was told not to say who he was meeting with. Because you didn't want him to be.
I didn't say that.
That's.
I didn't say that. We had a lunch.
We can confirm that. We can call Hugh and we can call refute that.
The end of
And then you ended up in
lunch was-
that lunch the day after we started to make
I
some.
love my son. If
The day after we started to make some reconciliation.
I appreciate that. That's what it was.
The day after we started to make some reconciliation, you called Suzy a Jezebel. You said that she's after men like and Doug. And you just.
I didn't say she was after.
Jonathan.
Okay, we can call Hugh. There's two
That's
witnesses.
your mother's request.
Mom,
At your mother's request.
Don't lie.
Jonathan.
I'm not like Jonathan.
yes, you are.
At your mother's request, we called you back in here for time to talk to you. And we give you 24 hours from the time we sign this. That's roughly 2:30 to 3 o'clock tomorrow. If you can sign that, come back in to Arnold's office, sign the piece of paper, okay? Read it, be comfortable with it, and then sign the piece of paper tomorrow. You have until basically, I say 3 o'clock. That's 24 hours from the time to sign it. If you do not do that, then you are removing yourself from the board and removing yourself from your vice president position. And you are then an employee. You're still an employee. That's where we are. Now, technically, we had to pass a motion to do that because technically you were gone. You had already removed
Well,
yourself
you
from the
dismissed
board. Well, because you did not do it. Technically, you removed yourself from the board.
I didn't remove myself.
Technically, you
You
removed yourself
dismissed
from
me.
vice president. At her request, we passed a motion to give you 24 hours.
So the person speaking now, who's putting it down on Jonathan, that per your mother's request, we gave you 24 hours. You need to sign this. If not, you're automatically going to get fired. So the person speaking is Tom Callender. He was there from the beginning when Jonathan was born as well. Okay, and this is a gentleman. And this is a gentleman who has put out that information denying that woman that he said anything to that woman in regards to he received Joni Lamb's final wishes on her deathbed. And yet the same people are also saying that Joni went to, anyway, they're saying that was 3 weeks before she died. She was fine. She was here. All right. So I'll leave that be because allegedly she died in Mexico. So, okay. So how did you guys hear that information? But they say it was before. She was fine. She was able to make the arrangements to have information with this Tom Callender guy. Okay. That to me, I think what I would do, saying that they should give Daystar back to Jonathan from Joni, no. But I think she would say that if Jonathan ever reconciles with his siblings, he can come back to Daystar. You see what I mean? I'll see something more like that. If he reconciles, then, John would want the children to be together and stuff like that. Like, yeah, he can come back to Daystar. They can find something for him to be working over there, something like that. But this guy has already issued this statement, okay? I'm like, Jonathan, you were a vice president, okay? Even if this information, like, let's just grant that this information is true. Why are you running with this information? Do you have legal documents in your possession? Because that will make more sense. Guys, I'm in possession of the legal documents. My mom put me on the will. In fact, you're not even announcing it. You're just taking that thing to the lawyer, and the lawyer is just going to go there. Guys, these are the legal documents, and they are binding. Give us the keys to Jonathan. That information does not hold up it does not hold any water, okay? So even if you were to go to court, who is going to testify? Because Tom Callender is denying he didn't say that issue. That lady, it's her word against Tom Callender's word. And these people are so famous of recording information. Everybody knew that there was this debacle. If something happens to Joni, this is going to be issue as far as this is concerned because there was this bad blood, right, within these siblings. So these people forgot to record. This is the very first time they did not record. Unless maybe the recording is out there, they just haven't put it out yet. Okay, but I'm like, okay, so where's the recording? You have a recording for everything else, but there was no recording when Joni was saying these words. And Joni was able to summon Tom Callender to her deathbed. And John was not able to summon her lawyers to change things. And she was able to sell all her property. She was able to put things in a trust. She was able to sign a will. She was able to put a will, but just forgot to leave the Daystar keys to Jonathan. You guys, you tell me. All right, let's continue.
To reconsider. Before you get your letter from Daystar telling you that's what the situation is. Now, you with me? You understand?
I understand.
So until 3 o'clock tomorrow, you have to go home, pray, talk, do whatever you want to, then come back into Arnold's office and read that until you're comfortable to sign it or not sign it.
Okay.
And if you sign it, then you're bound by it just like the rest of it. If you don't sign it, you have removed yourself from the board and removed yourself from the officer of Daystar.
I wouldn't have removed myself. That would be her decision.
That's the effect of
that's
not signing.
That's the effect of you not signing it. You're doing it.
What he said is this board didn't remove you. Your decision not to sign this is what's going to remove you.
That's what's going on.
Yeah, but you can work with me as we're in a period of trying to restore trust with one another, to not try to do something that's going to, again, try to control the narrative, which is all she's been trying to do the last few months.
And see, every time you turn this way, do you realize if it wasn't for her, that we wouldn't be having this conversation?
If it weren't,
you would be gone. You would already done it.
You were technically removed from the board when you left the room and refused to sign it. But the board reinstated you and gave you 24 hours.
Because of her. Only because of her.
I'll be honest with you, Jonathan. If I was sitting in her chair and I listened to what this guy said in this room, I wouldn't even want you to be an employee. Because there's two things that you have. I'm trying to find the right word here. You are overplaying your hand in two areas. One is that you think that in other words, you're not recognizing the hierarchy of the organization. You're using your family connection to say things that no employee would ever get away with in any organization. The CEO doesn't have to establish trust with an employee of the organization. They just have to issue instructions.
but she's my mother.
That you're using that as leverage.
You think that she would want to try to rebuild a relationship?
You're using that as leverage.
Guys, do you see the point now? Okay, so Terry, yes, Jonathan was absolutely, he was not recognizing the structure of the authority within the organization. And did you hear what he just said? Oh, she's my mother. You see what I'm saying? Just like, no, they're over here at the office, she's the CEO. You might not like her, okay? But she's in charge, okay? She is in charge and her word goes over here. That's why she is the CEO. You are the vice president. So at any company, if you are not adhering to the authority at your workplace, you are going to get fired. That's just how things work. How many bosses that you don't like that you work for, but you're there doing exactly what you're supposed to do? Because the day that you don't, you're out of there. So Jonathan, that's why he's out here looking at you guys like, oh no, she's my mother. You see what I'm saying? Yes, she's your mother. That's not the topic. The topic is you are failing to obey her orders at workplace. Because these two did not want to read the comments. Your job is to read comments. You run a live TV. Okay, you are in Daystar. That's what they do. You might not like the comments, but that is your job. If you don't like that, then quit. If this is not what he wanted, he could have easily just stepped down, but he wanted to maintain the job as a vice president without actually not doing the job that the CEO was instructing him to do. So yeah, by that definition, hello. I'm sitting there, I'm like, Jonathan, no. And he said, oh, she's my mother. So you can actually see, even just you're hearing whatever he's saying, can this guy lead Daystar? The way this business are so cutthroat. Huh? Oh my goodness, guys. All right.
Leverage
But she doesn't care.
To get business advantages.
I do care.
You do. You don't care.
Yes, I do.
No. Why would you disparage Suzy's character the next day and blindside her friend?
Suzy's been responsible for doing a lot of damage, just as you have. Both of you have. And
You've done a lot of damage by
I haven't written
that meeting that you had with Jimmy.
Mad about you and
Called-
Suzy.
the letter I read.
We're going back to what John just said.
But there hasn't been any type of
You're not entitled to it, son. From a board business perspective,
No, but-
she doesn't have to do anything. That's what you have to grow up into the real world of what how boards operate.
But we're mother son. We should be able to have a good relationship.
It doesn't have anything to do with it. That's an absolute non-starter. You are a board member with responsibility to Daystar, and those responsibilities are not being carried out in an excellent way. Now, because of that, we have had some media information that got in the media's hand that shouldn't have. We've had programmers dealt with. We've had conflict created within the organization. All those things are created because of your board position actions. Nothing to do with family. Now, our job is to put in place everything we can to prevent this from occurring again.
What is the media thing?
That right there is spelling out exactly what your board responsibility is. Not your son, not your brother, your board responsibility. Now, I'm talking harder than I like to, okay? But I want you to understand. And you, in fact, from a board perspective, removed yourself from the board and removed yourself from an officer when you refused to sign it. It was done. And we were sitting here saying, okay, what do we have to do since Jonathan's no longer a vice president? And the CEO said, no, wait a minute. I want to make sure he understands, and I want to give him 24 hours before we act this. From her.
And I told her to call you back.
The motion was seconded, and it passed unanimously, okay? And she said, Arnold, call Jonathan. Call John and ask him to come up here so that he does not walk out of this building with any confusion as to what we're doing here. That's what we ask. And that's where we are. We want you to understand that, not as a son, but as a board member.
So, guys, the gentleman, the guy who is speaking, right? Are you telling me this guy is going to go to Jonathan and say, your mother on the deathbed said that Daystar should belong to you? He is out here showing Jonathan, we know that this is your mom. You have responsibility to the board. Okay? And because of your actions as a board member, these leaks, all these other things are going out there. So we are trying to rein in, okay, from the top. So this guy is going to hear from Joni Lamb that Daystar has to go to Jonathan. And this guy is not going to tell Joni that, oh, John, you need to put that in writing. Oh, John, you need to put that in your will. Oh, John, you need to put that in your trust. You see what I'm saying? The same John who was able to be like, you know what? I know you're my son, you're firstborn. And Johnny already signed that, yes, Daystar is going to go to you. Did all those other things, but forgot to put Jonathan in charge of a Daystar. Huh? The same John who planned her own funeral, and her son was nowhere to be found in that program. And she left instructions, okay, to tell Aggie, please do not notify Jonathan about all this. But then all of a sudden, John was like, you know what? He can have Daystar. And Jonathan is out here issuing a statement. Yes, families can have issues and everything, but I want to fulfill the wishes to honor my parent. You failed to honor your mother while she was alive. Now you want to honor your mother while she's dead? How is that going to work? How is that going to work? How is that going to work, guys? How is that going to work? Can somebody help me? I was just like, like Jonathan, who are your friends? Who is actually advising you? Should we start a GoFund over here, lawyers, whatever, who can actually give him like real legal advice? You're like, okay, so... So, I mean, like, why can't I say the same thing that Joni Lamb left Daystar to me? You see what I'm saying? Anybody can say that. Guys, okay, Joni Lamb left Daystar to Marcus Rogers. Because that was the message that came out on the deathbed. Who is going to refute that? So if I say that, what you guys are going to ask, what evidence do I have that Joni Lamb left Daystar to Marcus Rogers? I need to produce evidence, right? Because Jonathan says the Daystar was left to him. Does he have evidence that Joni Lamb left Daystar to him? If he has evidence, then it is. But him just saying this particular person said this person had a dream. I said, what are we doing, guys?
As an officer of this corporation, this is your responsibility. This is your accountability. And we all are under the same thing. And we don't want you to walk away from this without knowing what you're walking away from. I thought you knew it when you refused to sign it. I hope you know it now. Do you understand what this process is? Okay, and I'm comfortable that, and you understand you got till 3 o'clock tomorrow to come back in and sign it or not sign it. Yep. If you don't sign it, then I'm quite sure there's going to be a letter prepared that will be presented to you as to what the process, what you've done. That you are no longer an officer, you're no longer a board member, and these are the ramifications of whatever changes have to take place before that. That's an operational issue for Arnold to handle with the CEO.
And by the way, I know you know this. Nobody wants that.
Well, I don't know about her.
She's the one that gave you
She's the one that's giving you another chance, man.
Now,
Can't you hear?
Here's the problem.
Her actions don't align with that.
I think it just occurred to me what the problem is here, and some of what you were saying, and I just want to cover this, make sure there's some things that, some of the stuff you're talking about, all that, some of it is, it's personal, it's family, it has to do with the relationship in the family setting. It has no place in this building. It should never have been brought up in this building. But in this building, it just needs to be, here's my job, here's the instructions I've got, I'm going to answer to the authority that's in the organization, and I'm going to march forward and, perform my duties. And you can't bring all that other stuff in here. It has to stay outside this building.
She brought it in.
That's where She can bring anything in here she wants to because she's the CEO.
My daughter was molested in 2021, and she mentioned that in the meeting to try to make Suzy.
I didn't mention about that. It's a private family thing that Suzy accused someone of. That was not true.
And she basically made Suzy the bad person, the victim, the mother of the victim. Basically said that she was
I didn't make
the
Suzy
problem.
the victim at all.
Again, the recording says otherwise. But
You can't let go of that meeting. You're never going to be. You're not going to be able to survive.
You're not going to.
You're going to have to let go of what happened in that.
well, until a repair is made, how can we move past it? She hasn't repaired it.
You as a junior person in the chain of command in this organization, you either get past it or you need to resign.
That's true.
That's your two options.
That's true.
Well,
That's just being honest.
I would love to get past it, but again, it would take you actually having a true repentance.
You can't make somebody else get
son,
past it.
look,
Jonathan, the person that needs to repent is sitting right there.
Look, you have to do this. You have to do this. Take your shoulders and shake you. It's your job. And we've done everything we can to protect your vision and the vision your father had to get you to a point where you can get there. But it's your job now to submit to the authority of this organization.
Well, I do
not as a
submit.
son, not as anything else, as an employee and a board member.
I have.
No, you haven't. You are challenging it full force. And that's got to get through your head. Your actions are challenging that. I get up and run around this building here in a minute and go crazy if you don't just open your mind. God, open his mind to see what he's doing to himself. You're throwing everything away because you will not allow the blinders to be taken off and see what your position as a board member and an employee is totally different than your family position. Has nothing to do with it. You're to be an excellent employee, an excellent board member, an excellent submissive to the direction of the CEO.
Yeah, everything should be focused on Daystar and its ministry.
That's it.
You know, you can't keep focusing on something that happened to you in the past. You know, we've already given you a letter saying that all of that has been, you know, that none of those things are going to be required in the future. You don't have the right as an employee to keep challenging your boss.
Can you do my request of? Do you have my response to you that was on October 3rd? Okay, so I said Suzy is owed a letter fully reinstating her to all of her previous roles at Daystar. During the meeting of Joni Lamb, Joni purported to fire Suzy and promptly removed her from all appearances on Daystar's petty, harmful, and disappointing action. Repair must be made. Can you do this, Mom, right now?
I can't do it right now. I think there is possibility for the future when I see you guys' action line up with submitting to my authority and being respectful of the decision I made to marry twice, and he will co-host with me. But the crazy thing is, like, everything that you wanted in there was
You already had it.
already had it.
Yeah.
But it was your fear of Doug and him co-hosting with me, or what he was going to do or not going to do, or that he had deceived me and you'd pick up the pieces when he broke my heart. None of that is true. That's a lie. Doug has been nothing but a blessing. And so until you can understand that, then yeah, I absolutely adore you. I love you. I'm your mother. But I can separate being the CEO of Daystar and being your mother. And yes, I love you. I love Suzy. I love my grandkids. Yes, I've been frustrated, like John said. I said things. I have seen things that look very much like a spirit operating behind it. And that doesn't, when you say that, doesn't, we don't wrestle with flesh and blood. So I have seen a spirit driving this thing, trying to divide us, and I hate that. Because
I see you, Spirit, and you.
Yeah.
Well, let's just have some men sitting here. I mean, based on what I said, you're all spiritual men.
Let's play that meeting with Jimmy Evans, and let's see what spirit is in
I'm
operation.
directing this interview right now.
You just can't.
No, but that's the spirit that led that meeting to transpire like it did.
I'm directing this interview right now. Tom, please respond to what I just said and give me your honest observations as a man of God, not because I'm Joni Lamb or that's Jonathan Lamb. I want to hear the truth.
You're driven by the Spirit of grace. You've always been driven by the Spirit. And that was the balance that you brought to Mark. If Marcus was sitting in your chair and you were his son, he probably would have popped you over the head so hard it wouldn't even be funny. Your spirit is the spirit of grace. In addition to that, you have been given the gift of administration.
You know what? I do believe that Jonathan wouldn't have been doing this if his father was alive. Let's say Joni Lamb is the one who was gone prior to Marcus, and then Marcus is in charge. Jonathan wouldn't have moved it like this. Because remember, this incident about Jonathan's son, right? It happened while Jonathan's father was alive, Marcus was alive. And according to them, Marcus is the one who actually covered it all up. But they always only blame Joni, right? Marcus is the one who'll be like, no, sis, we were running Daystar before all of you showed up, and we can run Daystar without all of you. So get your affairs in order. He was that type of a guy. He was no nonsense guy. So now you can see the collusion now, right? With Jonathan not wanting to separate his responsibility. And then, the mom is married and stuff like that. So I think this is the reason what happened to him. He felt threatened by Doug's presence co-hosting. Then the next minute, he was saying, "Oh my goodness, this guy has taken over my dad's empire. He's going to take over my dad's place and everything else." So that moved him to blackmail his mom. Jonathan blackmailed Joni Lamb. So this guy, he needs to rebuild trust with the siblings. Right now, he wants to go back to Daystar. Like, okay, so now you want to go to Daystar because you were promised to have Daystar, not because you want to have a good relationship with your siblings. So it has always been Daystar about him, and that has blinded him that he cannot even see. So listen to this interaction that's coming up right now, guys. Yes, he did sell his birthright. His own mouth costed him his birthright. Literally. That's what happened. All right, let's go.
And you're doing an exceptional job with the gift of administration, spiritual. And I rejoice in the vision that God is bringing forth to Daystar under your anointing. That's what I see spiritually. You asked me the question, 100%.
And have you seen any other kind of spirit operate with Jonathan and Suzy that was not of God?
From you?
No, from them.
From them? Oh, absolutely. I see the spirit of Ahab all over him. All over him. He wants something that he does not have, and he'll use any method. He's trying to place on you the spirit of Jezebel. Now, I'm just talking spiritually, okay? He's trying to transfer that to you, and that's his frustration and Ahab's frustration. He has that spirit on him now. What's causing the issue with him is covetousness. Okay? He wants what God may have intended for him to be someday now.
No, I don't.
Your actions show that you do.
No, I don't. I went in God's perfect timing.
That's the spirit that I see.
That's what you just asked for right here.
Yeah, that's what you just asked for.
Where?
You're asking the CEO to do something now that you want done. Well, guess what?
Because of the way me and Suzy were treated.
Let me ask you a question.
It would never have been a thought in my head.
Have you had any other discussion?
Remember these words. Forgive them.
About the viewer comment?
You don't know what being treated bad is. You know what I'm talking about.
Well,
Your Lord laying on the cross.
Yeah.
That's grace. You're not operating in grace. You're operating in legalism. And that's a spirit that's on you. And that's what you have to reject in yourself. And it's your father had it. And it was broken over the most mundane thing that could ever happen, over getting ears pierced. The spirit of Pharisaicism was broken over your father. I pray that the spirit will be broken over you. That's where you are. Open your mind. Bring it into obedience to Scripture. As a Christian, we are to love, support, encourage. Let nothing bad come out of my mouth except love and grace. That's our job as a Christian. That's who you say you are. Now, that's the spiritual side. But that should drive us, and it does, this ministry. But for goodness sake, for the sake of this ministry, for the sake of your future and your wife's future and your children's future, for the sake of your mother's peace of mind and future, for the sake of Daystar, move. God, break in the name of Jesus that spirit of I'm right and you're wrong and I've been treated bad. Gee whiz, so sorry it's terrible. Be broken over you. And may you turn to, I'm going to be walking in grace. And let that return. And then God will heal. But that has to happen first. I don't want to put on my preacher hat. I apologize to y'all, okay? But I care for you so much. That's all I want. My phone has buzzed every 5 minutes.
Why?
Because Marsha's praying.
Oh, okay.
And that's a reminder to me that she's praying. That spirit over you will be broken. And I'm claiming for it to be done in the name of Jesus right now. And let's get down to where we can do ministry. And as you as a board member, you as a vice president, and you as one that's open and wide open to leadership from elderly people that are around you that love you and teach you how to be what God's called you to be. She can teach you what you should be if you'll be open to it. But you got to put everything else aside. No matter how you perceive it, you've got to put it aside.
You know, I think one thing that what you're going to, I'm going to translate what you said earlier. For you to reestablish to get your position established the way you want it here in this organization, this is what you're going to have to do. Okay, I'm just telling you, this is the formula for it. It's what you would have to do if we never had any of this stuff happen. It's the same formula. That is, you're sitting in a position where you're a director, you're a vice president, you're an employee, you're a person who has influence. Okay, how do you use that in a way that maximizes your ministry, your ability to help Daystar? Okay, you have to look past anything that's in the way of that. If there's stuff that's happened, things that have been said, people say things they don't always mean, they get frustrated, things happen. You have to be able, you're going to have to say, I'm going to go forward, and this is what I have to do to make myself achieve my goals to do it. And then if you do that and you make yourself effective, this other stuff is going to solve itself. That's really all Joni's asked you to do, is to put yourself in a position where that doesn't control you. What happened in the past? Start now going forward and do what you can do to make yourself the most valuable person in this organization. That's how you heal all of this stuff. That's how, Doug's involvement becomes irrelevant to you. That's how all of these other things. It's just like, if you have to be yourself, what would you do if you worked in an organization where they had a different religion than you and you were underneath them? You don't have, they'd be doing things you just have to say, this is what I've got. This is the hand I was dealt. I've got to play my hand the way it is. And then y'all's relationship will solve itself in no time.
There has to be, like you said, grace. There has to be love. There has to be forgiveness. There has to be kindness. There has to be respect. There has to be honor. And a lot of those things have been missing because the sword's out and there's a fight going on. And I feel the stabs in my back, and there's been a lot. But don't you ever believe the lie that I don't love you with all my heart. I'm not playing the game. I've never played the game. You're my firstborn son, and I want you to be all that God's called you to be. And I'm not perfect, but they will all tell you at this table I have tried my best to do the right thing in every situation. And invest ministry on Daystar and preach the gospel to as many people as I can. And Doug Wise has been nothing but an incredible blessing to me. I'm as happy as I've ever been in my life. That may be hard for you to hear.
You're happier now than you've ever been at Doug?
I am happier now than I've ever been.
Even happier than we were at Doug?
I loved your dad with all my heart, okay? They're two different men. I'm just...
So this is quite interesting interaction that's going to happen here, right? The mother and son, okay? Brown girl in the house. Okay, good to see you, my sister. Yes, you're right. Both of them, right? Ministry, Daystar is business. Let's just be honest, okay? It's a business disguised as ministry. So there is a struggle for power and struggle for money. This is exactly what was going on, okay? However, Jonathan was rushing to get that money, was rushing to get that power, was trying to blackmail the mother, okay? So this is exactly what was going on. And to me, he lost all that by his own mouth, by his own doing. So now he wants to pretend like, oh, I'm going to be the one who's going to save Daystar. No, you're not going to be the one who's going to save Daystar. So now, in this interaction, right, Joni, her testimony, okay, this is as happy as she's ever been, okay, with Doug. That information to Jonathan, it's very difficult for him to compute because you are my mom and that is my dad. The relationship that a child has with parents, it's not the same as, husband and wife. You see what I'm saying? Because in your mind, even if the parents are divorcing, you don't want them to divorce because that's your mom and daddy. But their relationship has soured. So for whatever the reason, these people are divorcing, right? So for Marcus to hear that this is, for Jonathan to hear that this is the most that his mom has ever been happy, that will even make Jonathan resent Doug more. Because in his mind, you are replacing my father. You see what I'm saying? Wow. So my mom is betraying my dad because the whole time she wasn't happy. So that's what is playing subconsciously for Jonathan. But yes, Joni obviously, was married to Marcus Lamb, so she must have loved him. But remember, Marcus cheated on Joni for 7 years. Okay, she stayed in that particular marriage. Who knows what she was going through, right? And they had to go to Doug Wise to share their issues and their struggles and everything else. So, like I said, when Doug came in as a knight in a shining armor. So, because Doug knew all the mistakes that Marcus did, so he wasn't going to do those things. He realized, you know what? Joni likes, hot coffee every morning, okay? And that's what it pleases her. So I bet you Doug was getting up with hot coffee every morning. So that it gave Joni all the butterflies, everything else, whatever. So I think Jonathan failing to understand that the relationship that your mom had with your father is different with you. But for Jonathan, feels betrayed. And I can understand that, okay? Because when my parents divorced, I didn't want my dad to get married because I'm like, hey, we don't want no woman in this house, okay? We just want to have our dad to ourselves. We don't want anybody else. But now when I got older, I look back, it was good for my dad to get married. And my dad knew that my children are not going to accept any other woman. So my dad never remarried. And that wasn't good for him. It was good for him to marry. But now, as I got older, I look back, I'm like, you know what? It was good for my dad to get married. But I did not understand it because in my mind, I actually said it like, no, there was a lady that, kind of like my dad was saying whatever. Oh, no. We made it clear. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. You can never be part of this family. You see what I'm saying? And I know me and my siblings, there is no way a woman would have come in our lives telling us, oh, I like to put this in. That would not have worked. And my dad knew that. But that was us, just being selfish because that was our father. But I didn't understand things. Now, as I got older, I understand what marriage is, stuff like that. I look back, I'm like, man, we should have let my dad do that. So I can understand Jonathan hearing that message. The mother is telling her, oh, you know what? I've been happier than I've ever been. That was, he might feel like something like a betrayal, that type of thing. So I get that part. Yeah, but it's just, if you understand, you grow up, let me know if any of you have been in that particular situation. Yeah, it's a different dynamic. Yeah, like you want your parents, they'll always have a relationship with you, but subconsciously you think someone else is going to take that love away from you. That's why you cling to that issue. It shouldn't be the case. Like God has designed things, husband and wife, parents and children. It's a whole different type of love. Just because your father is married to somebody else does not mean that they'll take away from your love. I hope I'm making sense, but let's continue.
Saying, I would think that you would be happy.
No, but are you saying that you're happier now with Doug than you ever were with Dad?
Jonathan.
No, I'm just saying. I was asking.
Your dad was the love of my life, okay? I was married to him almost 40 years. We were in a relationship for 41 years. We built this ministry together. He is the father of my children. Of course, I loved your dad immensely. He was the love of my life. But I'm saying your dad is gone, and in this season, I didn't know I could love again. And God sent the most amazing man to come beside me. He hasn't asked for anything. He hasn't taken anything. He only wants to be a blessing to Daystar. He only wants to be a blessing to my children and my grandchildren. We had that discussion before I got married. He signed a prenup. I signed a prenup. He still has a counseling center with 15 counselors that help people from around the world. He has helped people for 35 years. He is one of the most qualified people to sit beside me and minister with me. And there's a myriad of people that see that, and over time you will see it. You may not see it now, but you will see it. I don't care if you say you agree or you don't agree. Time will prove out the truth. I'm willing to wait for that. But I will not put up with disrespect or dishonor towards him. You have to love.
But I've been honoring as far as like.
No, you haven't. You haven't been. And just be honest about that, okay? You have been rude.
No, I haven't.
And
we were at our meeting with the Canadian board members yesterday. I was recommending a great German
yes,
referendum.
you did, and I thank you for that. But we need more of that. You let me see the love, the kindness, the Jonathan that I know you are, because I don't know this one I've seen over the last few months, because that's what.
I could say the same thing about you, though.
That's what bitterness. I have been exactly the same.
No, you haven't.
I haven't taken out retribution against you. I haven't.
You never.
On my social
You
media.
never.
I have.
I haven't taken any
over 1 million people
retribution.
on my Facebook public page. There's over 2 million people on Daystars. I haven't tried to hurt you in any way.
Of course, I haven't tried to hurt you.
Yes, you have.
No, I haven't.
You and Suzy both have.
No.
So everybody sees it. Everyone sees it. Okay, we would not get into that. All I want you to know.
No, but that's not true. How have I tried to hurt you?
You have allowed people to disparage my name.
That's people. I can't control that. I'm not going to block every comment that's
By you
negative.
putting that statement up without permission opened a whole Pandora's box, because we said you were on a sabbatical. So, I mean, I'm not going to go through all that. What I need you to know is that whatever lie you have believed about me, it is a lie. I love you. I love Suzy. I love the grandkids. We probably both have said and done things we shouldn't have said. But at the end of the day, I have stretched as far as I can for you. And you're going to have to step up to the plate and prove to me that you are trustworthy, and that you're not going to call Shannon and want to get every camera in the building on his personal computer.
I've had that ever since I was installed the cameras.
No, it just got reinstalled in there. Or all the other, I mean, a lot of people in the building have noticed this Jonathan that is not Jonathan. You just are more aggressive. You get more upset with people. I think you told Ryan the other day he wasn't dependable. I mean, it's just like, what in the world? That's not who you are. And I know who you are.
Because Ryan lied.
Ryan didn't lie.
Yeah, he did.
No, he didn't.
Yes, because I asked him also the day that I found out Shannon put a tracker in my car, that he basically denied knowing anything about it.
Ryan knew there were trackers in all the vehicles. But again, why do we keep going back to these small
Because
issues?
this just
We're
happened.
talking about a real big issue here that's so much bigger.
Because how can you rebuild trust if you're doing things like
How can I
that?
rebuild trust after all you and Suzy have done to
There's
me?
only one way trust is going to be rebuilt, and that's for you to do what I said a while ago. It's not going to come from over here. It's going to come from within you.
That's right.
You got to make
But trust is a two-way street.
No, it's something that you build slowly, a little bit at a time. You can only deal with the part that you control. She can deal with the part she controls, but you can't demand her to do something for you. You've got to do what you can do to build. And if you start proving that you're that you're going to make yourself the most valuable person at Daystar, the ministry of Daystar becomes your number one goal, and you start thinking like, I can't do that unless I'm in lockstep with the CEO and the board. That's the only way you can be the best thing you can be. And you got to say, okay, here's all this stuff I don't like about the board. This is stuff you don't like about me. You don't like about whatever. I'm going to figure out how to work around that and still be as effective as I can be. Because the way that Daystar gets to be the best it can be is if everybody in this room and everybody in this building is trying to do their job the very best they can for Daystar in the ministry that's out there. Because it's a flawed world. We're all flawed. There's so much flaw in this organization, everything's going on because we're all human. But God uses it to accomplish His goal. And the effect of it out there, it's just, that has to be the number one thing we look at. I represented a guy that was a pastor of a church that he started from scratch and built it up to where they had 3,000 people attend.
So you can see there that, yes, the trust issue, definitely trust has to be rebuilt. And this explains how Jonathan has been moving all along, okay? And it's because of this sense of entitlement that has pretty much put him in this situation, okay? It has put him in this situation because for some reason, he truly believes that he is actually entitled to own Daystar, right? Like to have Daystar for some reason or the other, okay? To own Daystar for one reason or the other. So I just like, Jonathan, you know what I mean? Like you have to, you gotta suck it up, man. You know what I mean? You absolutely have to suck it up. You have to suck it up, and that's not what happened. So now he's running with this information that, okay, you know what? Daystar is yours, okay? Daystar is yours. No. Daystar is not yours, young man. Daystar is not yours, young man. So I'm making this so you guys can see what it says. Okay, we are having some difficulty over here, but I know you guys can hear me, so it's fine. Let me put it on the other screen as well. Okay, so what are you guys looking at? So what you're looking at, this is what Daystar put out. Okay, I'll read it to you in case you might not be able to see. I'm just going to read the highlighted part. What does it say? Daystar's mission does not change today. Previously, Lamb worked with the board to ensure an executive leadership team was in place so that the ministry would continue uninterrupted. Programming will proceed as scheduled with on-air tributes to follow in the coming days. So this was a statement that Daystar put out. So Joni knew that she was dying, okay? Allegedly, she had breast cancer and then it went to the bone and she knew that her days were numbered. So she did set her affairs in order. So once again, if she was setting everything else in order and she desired for Jonathan to take over Daystar, why wasn't that communicated in the legal documents? Why wasn't that communicated in the legal documents? Okay, so this is the picture I said I was going to show you guys. So this is Joni Lamb over here, okay, showing up at Jonathan and Suzy's house, and they never opened the door for her. Okay, so she just stood there, I guess, you know what I mean. And this is this was on October 30th, 2024. Joni sent this message to ask Jonathan that she was willing to reconcile, to come back together with Jonathan and everything else, but Jonathan refused. Jonathan denied that opportunity. Okay, so this is Joni right here at their house. So I was just like, okay, so you denied your this opportunity to your mom to reconcile with you. Why? So now you want to come and take over Daystar? Does that make any sense? No, it does not make any sense. So we have Suzy has issued a statement, okay? So all this is just, this is the information that, guys, I already showed you guys. So, so Suzy Lamb has issued a statement, okay? She blocked me because you see, Suzy Lamb blocked you. Okay, so she blocked me. But things change on Twitter. You can still see messages even if somebody blocked you. So you know the reason why she blocked you, truly. Anyway, this is what she put out. A brief clarification. In recent conversations regarding reconciliation, we expressed a willingness to pursue peace, forgiveness, and healing within the family, which I personally support. Okay? I want them to reconcile, to do all those other things. But the question still arises. If Jonathan was not made aware that Joni wants you to take over Daystar, would Jonathan have reached to reconcile with his siblings? I'll leave that up to you guys. Suzy says, what we were not willing to do was retract anything regarding our child or make admissions we do not believe to be true as a condition of having that conversation. Those are two very different things. Our child is protected, heard, and supported. Any questions regarding potential criminal conduct belong with the appropriate authorities, not in family negotiations. We believe it is possible to seek peace without abandoning deeply held convictions. We believe it is possible to pursue forgiveness while allowing legal and investigative process to take their course. Hurt feelings exist on all sides, and we have never claimed otherwise. We remain willing to extend forgiveness, seek healing, and pursue reconciliation wherever possible. Our hope remains the same: truth, justice, healing, and peace for everyone involved. So I hope this will actually take place, okay? Yes, you can reconcile with somebody, and the dynamics of a relationship can actually change. Those are the things that actually happen, but that can actually be pursued. Okay, I hope this is exactly what these people are going to do. It will actually be a beautiful thing it will actually be a very beautiful thing to see take place. Okay, so here is the lady in question, right? Who is claiming that she has this recording. Okay. She's anonymous. We don't know who she is, but there's nothing we can do, right? If people don't want to show themselves, there's nothing wrong with that issue, okay? But there was, some people are suspecting this lady, okay? So let me find her so I can show it to you guys. I don't know who she is. I just like, okay, whether it's her or not, I'll play the video for you guys. You guys can decide. Oh, will you guys be able to see? Because we had problems. Let me see if it'll work. Let's see. Oh, okay. All right. I don't want to even touch it because, like what has happened to us. Okay, but I need to put it for the other guys as well. Sorry, guys, that I have to do this, like this. We have no choice. Okay, this is how. Okay, so it says over here, right? So Mary Colbert can rally behind one person's remarriage after a divorce, but not remarriage after a spouse has passed away for her friend, quote-unquote friend, Joni Lamb, June 23. So allegedly, this is the lady who claims to have... Okay, hold on. I know you cannot hear her. Let me add audio to... Oh, man. Then I'll just let you guys just hear speak, because now I have to do a whole bunch of things. Okay. Anyway, hold on. Oh, my goodness, man. We are committed, right? Aren't we? Are we this committed, guys? Come on, man. Put likes up, guys. I'm working hard right now. I'm working so hard right now, okay? Let's hear those likes up. Hit the likes up, guys, okay? Hit those likes up, okay? So I need to, man. All right. Because we're streaming in both sides, so I have to do what I do on this side, I have to do it on the other side. Hang on, guys. We are almost there. So I know you cannot hear her right now because I have to play the audio, okay? All right. So this is the lady in question. Allegedly, she's the one who has that information.
This is the only thing that matters.
That's right.
And when you understand that and you fully get it, you will defend it with your life.
Yes. Yes.
And this man and his ministry and what he's doing, he's defending it with his life.
Amen. It's true.
He has laid down
Amen.
his life. I know a lot of people don't know what we know behind the scenes, but these two people have laid down their life for truth.
Amen.
They're going to continue laying their life down.
Yes.
And that's why we, the church, have got to rally behind him and what he and Lori are doing to support them in any way we can. Any way, any little way, big way, we've
Amen.
got to support, because
Amen.
as long as this ministry is here, they're truth tellers.
Mm-hmm.
This is the only thing that matters.
That's
right.
Lord.
And when you understand, defend it with your life.
Yes.
Okay, so this is you cannot see him clear over here. Okay, so somebody had posted Miracle but gives her take on Jim Baker. So Jim Baker, I do remember, wasn't he? You know, he spent some time in prison. I remember it must be Jim Baker. You know, that's because Jim Baker, a prophet, he's a mouthpiece. He has an oracle of God. So when he speaks and he says something, yeah, Jim Baker was in jail. I remember that he was in jail. Either something to do with the finances, or they might have been cheating in their relationship, allegedly. But I know he actually has a big scandal as well, okay? If he repented, that's fine. I'm just bringing it to you. That guy's name is Jim Baker, okay? So this is the lady, allegedly, is the one who has decimated this particular information, that heard from Tom Callender that this is the situation as far as Suzy is concerned, right? But we have already, I've already shown you that particular information. Wait a minute. So if this is the lady, okay, who has this type of information, Tom Callender could not speak to Suzy or Jonathan himself, had to go via, via Tom Callender like that. Okay, so that was what was the issue there. Okay, okay, yes. So because Nini is the one who had that information. Okay, so Nini is the one who put out that information, because I think she. This is my Twitter page, you guys. Okay, don't you? Let me click over there. Okay, all right. Twitter is something else. Okay, so yes, so this is it, right? So already Tom is denying, is telling. Because this one says Dawn Colbert, and that lady is Mary Colbert. So is it the same husband and wife, or what's going on over there? Okay, so I'm saying allegedly that's the lady, but you guys, I'll let you, you guys can decide. So now let's listen to the information that this lady is claiming that she received on the telephone call, okay, with Tom Callender, the one who has denied all this. Okay, so let's listen in.
Called Suzy and Jonathan with an intent when Joni died, and we got word she was dead, and the funeral had not occurred, and I knew the chaos in the family and the pain and the hurt and all the junk that's going on within the body of Christ. I called Jonathan and Suzy and said, guys, I really feel I'm on a mission. I really feel Jesus has asked me to do something. Would you come meet me? And they said, and Suzy said, we could be in the office in an hour. So she came over, they sat down, and I shared my story. I was sexually abused as a child. I am a victim of that. I know what that feels like. I know the horrors and the pain. So you're not talking to someone who hasn't been healed, come out of it, and appreciate, the child sex trafficking and all of the evil.
So I don't know. It's kind of tracking, because we have the message over here that's actually said the same thing. Like, okay, Suzy, Jonathan, please meet me in an office in an hour. You see what I'm saying? I don't know. What you guys, if you ask me, I think she's the one. Okay. Oh, I was going to show you the thing again. I'm not going to bother. I'll just leave it alone. Okay. I'm not going to bother. So, but anyway, the message says, good, hey, Suzy, Dawn and I would like to meet with you. And Jonathan, please, 1 hour is all we need. Let's meet this Friday at the office. No one will be there, just us. And the name over here is Dawn Colbert. The lady I just played with you, her name is Mary Colbert. So, and she's friends with Joni Lamb. If you ask me, she's the one. But because all these things are, they didn't disclose and everything else, so I say, I'll say, to me, my money is on her. Allegedly. Okay? You tell me what you guys think, if it's her or not. All right, let's continue. Oh, hold on. Sorry, I know you can't hear. All right, here's the audio, guys. Here we go.
And destroying families. I know, I lived it. I said, but I want you to understand something, where I'm coming from. If you two are willing, in so many words, to fall upon the sword and say, Josh, Rebecca, y'all may never be able to forgive us, but we truly are sorry. This got out of control. This was carried way too far. And we want to apologize for any pain we have caused, and we are part. Now, Suzy and Jonathan were sobbing. Yes, we'll do that. You're right. And they're crying. I said, okay, well, I can probably call Rachel and Josh. I've got their numbers. I'll try to orchestrate a private meeting here in the office where we can begin some sort of healing and get this going before the funeral. I said, this is going to be disgraceful to the body of Christ if we don't deal.
Oh, no, definitely not Denise Buggs, because Denise Buggs fell off. This lady got this information from Tom Callender 3 weeks prior to Joni dying. And Tom Callender has denied everything. Okay? So what's going on over here? And to me, even if this information is true, Joni had other avenues to disseminate this information. And why are these people, and let's just grant, right? Tom actually had this information. Why was this lady telling Suzy? Did Tom send her to go tell Suzy? Because Tom can do that. I remember this is the same guy. I couldn't find that, right? I remember Suzy was at the funeral. Jonathan greeted him, and he just had the death in his eyes. Okay, death in his eyes. Almost in a way. So I'm like, okay, so the same guy who had death in his eyes, who did not like to greet Jonathan at the funeral, is the same one who bear the good news of Jonathan to have the keys to Daystar. Which is it? So, guys.
with it. And I wish Joni could have had the ability to do that, but she didn't do that. She didn't have the nerve or whatever. She was lacking, I don't know, something. But anyway, I don't want to sit in the seat of the scornful. That is not who I am. I want to be a healer. I want to bring unity. My whole testimony is about forgiveness and the healing, how it healed my family. And so that's who I am, just so you know, okay? Mm-hmm. So they're willing. They're like 100% on board. So Jonathan said, well, let me just tell you the dynamics that you may not know. Tom, who's on the board, who's the head board, they will do whatever he tells them to do. Rachel and Rebecca will obey him. If he says we're meeting, they'll meet. Because he kind of has been the head and lead of the board all these years. I said, okay, give me his number. I'll call him.
Tom is not on the board. I think once upon a time he was on the board, but as the board is set up right now, Tom is not on the board. Over there, it's Torres. I forgot the name. Whitehouse, something like that, and Rachel. Tom is not there, so he used to, but not anymore.
And see what I can get done. So he answered the phone.
Steve Whitehouse. I think that's how they pronounce the name.
Well, Tom, the reason I'm calling, and I said, I want you to hear me. I have just had a 2-hour meeting with Jonathan and Suzy, and they want to reconcile with their sister. He wants to reconcile with his sister. He wants to apologize. He wants to bring healing. He wants to do whatever it takes to heal the family. That he and Suzy are broken. They are so broken over Joni's passing and the pain that the family's been through. They don't want the family to experience any more pain and suffering, and they want to do whatever they've got to do to heal the family. When I tell you this man started crying and sobbing on the phone, he was just, oh my, this is how I'm going to do it the way I heard it, okay? Oh my God, I have been waiting for this phone call. I have been waiting for this phone call. And I'm like listening, like this phone call, you know? And he says, Joni said to me, and he goes, she said to me, directly to me, if Jonathan tries to reach out, give him that Daystar. And I started crying. And I said, Tom, oh my gosh. He goes, we need to make this happen. We got to make this happen. I said, oh, Tom, this is incredible. This is incredible. Help me do this. Help me do this. And he's like, okay, I got to make some phone calls. Let me make some phone calls and I'll get back with you. Well, I am like crying so hard because I'm like, God, you're so good. This is so amazing. Praise you, Jesus, that this is going on. And called Jonathan immediately. And I said, Jonathan, I don't know if I should tell you this or not. I don't know. Maybe I should let Tom tell you, but I'm crying because I'm so overwhelmed, right? I said, let me tell you what he said. And I repeated the phone call back to Jonathan. Well, Jonathan lost it. I said, if you and Suzy do this, I'm just telling you, this is the miracle we've been looking for. It's going to bring honor back to Joni. I said, where she has dishonored herself and what she has done, I said, this will begin a restoration of bringing honor back to her. Because Joni is a godly, truly godly, was a very godly, God-fearing woman and really loved Jesus with her whole heart. She did. I knew her. I mean, she was all about the Lord until Doug came in the picture. And what happens is Joni's heart got broken for Marcus of 7 years of affair. That's a lot of years of being lied to. I don't know any woman that could fully recover from that. But Joni, for the sake of keeping the family or whatever, ministry, whatever, that's between her and God now, right? She decided to bury that and hold on to it until, you know, hopefully that they both would go home together. She had no idea it'd be sooner than what it was. Joni became a victim of Doug. She became a victim of a man who was starry-eyed, greedy, hungry. I can't judge the man himself.
So 7 years, Marcus having an affair with somebody else while still married to Joni. And then you can imagine when Doug showed up, right? And Joni said it, we've already had her own testimony. You see what I'm saying? She was happy. So it does not matter. You know, you don't have to like the situation. However, it is her own testimony. Doug made Joni happy. And Joni said she was happy. Joni could have said no to Doug. Whatever Doug did, Joni agreed to the arrangement and they got married. That's exactly what happened, okay? So, you know, yes, Doug, that is very suspicious, okay? After 35 years, you're just going to leave your wife. What's happening over there? But, you know, that's what happened. There's nothing we can do about that in that regard. But to me, was Joni Lamb a victim? She was an adult. She could have said no. It's not like she wasn't aware that Doug was not married. Okay, so yeah. Anyway, so that was quite interesting. Okay, here we go, guys.
But I can judge his fruit. And the fruit of him appeared he was one greedy, hungry, manipulative man. And she was vulnerable, brokenhearted from her years. And literally, I see Joni as a victim. The public is trying to say, Jonathan and Suzy killed Joni. And then they say, no, Doug killed Joni. And I'm like, no, folks, Joni killed Joni. Joni is responsible for her own actions. Joni is responsible for her own inactions. She is responsible for her. Nobody killed her. She killed herself through disobedience. That's what happened to Joni. That's my opinion. And I really believe that in my heart. Because there's no way when she said...
So now we are going into the territory where, I mean, she did say it's her opinion, so that's fine. Okay. So Joni, she was sick. Okay, she was battling health conditions. They did everything they could medically possible. Yes, there was so much stress, you can grant. All this stuff, your own son is out there exposing you like that. It will cause depression. It will cause all those other things, 100%. Anybody in that situation, it's going to affect you, right? It's going to affect you mentally, physically. Those are the things that are actually going to happen. People can think whatever they want to think. I'm not going to die on that hill. I do agree with what you said over here, right? Like, yeah. But to me, that's why I'm like, okay, we cannot just be blaming Dougie, right? Joni was a willing participant. She was an adult. She could have said no. So she was a willing participant. That's what she wanted. And I always say this, you don't have to like it, but hey, it is what it is. That's the decision that they made, okay? Now, can I say that, like there are certain things that we do that can bring consequences to ourselves, okay? Like what I'm seeing right now. Jonathan, because of how he maneuvered, he cost himself his inheritance. He has nobody else to blame but himself as to why he lost his inheritance, okay? So are we saying that if Joni had married let's say Joni had married Joni, whatever, I'm just making a name, right? Joni wouldn't have gotten sick. Joni wouldn't have died. If Joni had married somebody else, like a single guy, whatever, and then died, would this be the case? Yeah, so death is going to come to us all, just different times. I do agree that the stress of what was happening publicly did affect her one way or the other, because this issue was so bad. But can I say that it's because of those things? I cannot say that. I know why people would say that. Yeah. People can die because of depression. People can die because of stress. And you can get sick. You can have certain issues, and certain issues are just going to make other things get worse. Those are the things that actually happen. But, I don't know. You guys can decide. That was the lady's opinion. That's what he's saying. So, okay, so they live in Dallas. John is also in Dallas. My money is on that lady, guys. Okay? My money is on that lady, guys. But to me, I don't understand. So, why was she... Anyway, I'll just play it. Because to me, what I want to get is, why is she coming with this information public? Because she already had this information, according to her, with Suzy and privately, right? Then let those people just go out there and apologize, sort it out privately. Why do you want this to be in the public sphere? What is the motive? What is the reason? So to me, it looks like, okay, now you want to rally people. Oh, you know what? Daystar belongs to Jonathan. Now we have the last will and testament of Joni. You see what I'm saying? Because before it was like he wasn't part of the funeral. Everybody and their mama could see that, oh, this son was cut off from an inheritance. So this recording puts back, oh no, he's back in the inheritance. Oh, these sisters are stifling the inheritance that belongs to Jonathan. So all I'm saying is, if that is true, where are the legal documents to prove that Daystar belongs to Jonathan? That's all. Because you cannot tell me that they are going to hand over Daystar to Jonathan because of the hearsay. And yet everything else is in legal documents. To me is what I'm saying. Show us the proof and the legal documents. And where is the recording? You guys record everything. Okay, I mean, right now there's AI. They might as well make Joan on her deathbed doing the AI. But one thing also we do know is, according to their own, Joni died in Mexico, allegedly, right? She went there on Monday, she died on Thursday. So these people were not there in Mexico. So, okay, Doug was there in Mexico. So if Doug comes, if information comes, oh no, on her final breath in Mexico, she died on Thursday. Okay, let's just say she died at 2 p.m., right? At 1:50, Joni said everything belongs to Doug. After all, Doug is the husband. Joni has changed her mind. She's leaving everything to Doug Weiss. What are you guys going to be saying? Ain't you guys going to be demanding the video? Ain't you guys going to be demanding that you need to see things on paper, everything else in writing? We've heard Joni. Her own words. She loves Doug. So why wouldn't she leave everything to Doug Weiss? After all, she left instructions Jonathan should not be told about the funeral. So what is to stop Doug to come forward to say, I was with my wife when she died and she said everything belongs to me, Doug Weiss. Are you guys going to accept it? Is anybody here going to accept it? The answer is no. Why not? So why should we accept that through the words of someone else, everything was left to Jonathan? And then for some reason, we cannot accept if Doug Weiss comes out and says the same exact thing? You see? We are going to demand it to see papers for Doug Weiss, especially a whole bunch of people who don't like Doug Weiss, right? But it makes sense. Doug Weiss was the spouse. So yeah, everything goes to Doug. People are going to be, oh no, it did not go to Doug. Why not? Why not? Why wouldn't it? So in the same way, right, if the stuff was left to Doug, it has to be on paper. Whosoever is inheriting anything from Joni Lamb, it has to be on paper. If it's not on paper, guess what? Everything goes to who? To Doug Weiss. Why? Because Doug Weiss was a spouse. That's it. So according to Joni, Doug signed a prenup, Joni signed a prenup. Okay? So I guess the prenup is going to be enforced. But let's say for some reason you cannot even find that prenup. Doug was a spouse, is a surviving spouse. So he will get everything. But that's not what happened because Joni left everything in order. So I don't understand why Jonathan is out here sending out the statement. So what is to stop Doug Weiss doing another statement tomorrow that, oh no, my wife left everything to me, because Marcus Lamb left everything to Joni Lamb? when he died. And guess what? It was in the will. The will says everything that I own, if I die before my wife, everything belongs to my wife. It's in the will. Okay? And lo and behold, he died before Joni. So Joni owns everything. And nobody disputed that because if you're going to contest that, you need to have receipts, guys. Okay? We need to have receipts. All right, guys, let's continue. I am so glad that you guys are here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Please, please, please like this live stream. I'm so glad that you're here. Bring those comments. We are absolutely featuring them throughout. Here we go, guys.
Said, like, God judged between me and you, Jonathan, and within 2 months gets breast cancer of firing him. The Bible says a causeless curse cannot come. A causeless curse cannot come. And when you open the door as a believer to disobedience, when you live a life of compromise and disobedience, the Bible says that Jesus said, I will turn you over to the tormentors. It sets you up to be one of those, to be in torment. You call yourself a Christian, a believer to the body of Christ, and you aren't living your life to the best of your ability before all of heaven and the people. It's pure and clean in heart of what you can do. You're opening the door for the tormentors. It'd be better for you to just go back into the world and do whatever you're going to do because you're more susceptible to the enemy's attack as a confession Christian if you're not fully in. I don't mean to sound like I'm preaching. I'm just trying to explain. So Joni's side of what she did, we still see her as a victim to a manipulative, in our opinion, a wolf in sheep's clothing. Very much so. I don't know what's going to happen to this guy, but it ain't good. His end is not good. Unless he fully repents, acknowledges, comes clean, his end is not going to be good, in my opinion. And I'm not confessing that or speaking that, but anyway. So that's what happened. That's the story. That's how I kind of got involved.
So a pretty amazing story about this woman and what happened with Tom Callender soon before she died. And apparently she did have a softening toward Jonathan. She wanted there to be reconciliation in her family. And I can't imagine being at the point that she was at, knowing that she's probably going to go be with the Lord soon. And you want to leave your house in order. You want your house to be reconciled. And so it doesn't surprise me that kind of sentiment was expressed to Tom. And I talked to Jonathan and Suzy about this woman's story. Again, do they have any corroboration that this actually happened? Again, this woman is anonymous to you. I know who she is, but I wanted some corroboration, like what really happened. They said that actually after this woman's call with Tom Callender, Tom reached out to them. And so Jonathan had the first call with Tom that he's had in a very, very long time. And Tom asked Jonathan if he'd be willing to meet with his sisters. And Jonathan said, yes. Again, he had this conversation with this woman, and he apparently really was willing to say, maybe we took this too far. Maybe we hurt you too much. And there were some things that maybe he regretted. Again, we don't have a lot of detail on what that is. And I hate to put any words in Jonathan and Suzy's mouth. And I know right now they're just trying to heal. They're keeping a pretty low profile, and I don't blame them. But soon after this initial conversation, which Jonathan said was pretty brief, he had a question, so he called Tom back, and then Suzy was on the call. And according to Suzy, Tom was just warm and effusive and said he couldn't wait to wrap his arms around her. And Suzy said she reciprocated. I mean, if you know Suzy, which a lot of us, I've gotten to know her personally and spent some time with Jonathan and Suzy, but a number of us feel like we do know them because we've seen them on camera. We've walked with them through one of the most difficult periods of her life. And you know that Suzy is a very warm, very emotional person. Then she said that Tom almost started crying, saying that this had relieved him of so much stress in his life. Clearly, he had been carrying this stress and the burden of this family being so divided. But this was like...
So the person speaking now is Jury Royce, recounting that Tom Callender spoke to Jonathan and Suzy. Okay? Once again, can we get the recording? You have recording for everything. So I'm assuming when Tom called Jonathan and Suzy, they are known about recording. They recorded that, okay? So because you've made this public, can you just also make that recording public? That way, Tom Callender can never say, no, he didn't say, right? Because we'll be able to hear him on audio. Jonathan was recording the Daystar people and everybody else, right? They didn't even know that they were being recorded. So where is the recording of Tom Callender speaking to Jonathan and Suzy? Hopefully it's somewhere out there, given that they record everything. Okay? Because don't tell me this is their very first time where they decided not to record anything. Where this is crucial information that has Jonathan to inherit Daystar by the words of Tom Callender. Okay? I fully support the family coming together, reconciliation and all that. That I support, and I actually want to see that happening. But is that tying in to Jonathan? In fact, if they can actually reconcile and everything, Jonathan goes back to Daystar and everything, I'm not against that per se. But I want Jonathan to get it in his head that with everything that you've done to Daystar, you are not going to be in charge of Daystar. Okay? And if you go back to work at Daystar, can they trust you to be a good employee, or you're going to try to sow in discord so you can blackmail them, so you can usurp, so you can be the president of Daystar? Even if that was, with everything that I've heard, leadership quality-wise, I don't think Jonathan has it in him. Even if it wasn't Daystar, any other organization, I don't think he has it in him. So, because in Texas, you can record anybody without their consent, it's illegal to do so. So do they have the recording of Tom Callender saying whatever else he said on the phone? That's all I'm asking. All right, let's continue.
A huge relief to him. And then Suzy said that she asked Tom, okay, can you tell me about this meeting with Joni? And she said that he told them that he met with Joni for about 30 minutes. Again, this was about 3 weeks before she died, that Joni was sitting up in her makeup chair the whole time. Apparently this was pretty painful for her. Despite being deathly ill, she actually put on makeup and fixed her hair for this meeting with Tom. And Suzy said Tom didn't go into details about what she had told him, but he simply said, hey, listen, I'll tell you all about it later. But after talking to Rachel and Rebecca, something apparently changed. And here's how my source described it.
And now Tom calls me back 2 hours later. Listen, I talked with the girls, and they're just not ready for this. They said they'll get together right after the funeral, but they do not want to do this before the funeral. And this was on Wednesday.
So it was the Wednesday before the Monday funeral?
Correct.
4 or 5 days, okay.
But I just wanted to get this meeting, like on Saturday before the funeral, get this meeting done. So then I said to him, okay, well, let me call Jonathan and Suzy and tell him. He goes, oh, no, you don't need to. I've already called him. I've already told him. I said, oh, okay. All right. Well, darn. I said, I really felt the Lord wanted to do this before the funeral. He goes, I can't make that happen. I went, okay. So, you can only do what you can do, So now, as we're leading up to the funeral, my conversation with him at the very end, I said, please, whatever you do, Tom, don't tell Doug about this gathering. And he said, oh, you don't have to worry about that. Those were his exact words. And I said, okay, good, because I don't want anybody getting in the middle of trying to stop this from happening. Because I agree. So now we're leading up to the funeral, and I told him my last words was,
Guys, everything you know about Doug, do you think Doug has the power and authority to stop Rachel and Rebecca to meet with their brother Jonathan? Do you think Doug has any juice to stop Jonathan to reconcile with Rachel and Rebecca? Huh? Come on now. Darling, good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Stuff is not adding up, guys, okay? So Suzy said they spoke to Tom Callender, but they did not want to disclose what Tom Callender told them to Jury Royce. These people have disclosed everything to Jury Royce, but this time around, they did not want to disclose it to Jury Royce. What about the recording? They didn't record? Man, guys. All right.
well, you're going to be at the funeral. I'm going to come up and introduce myself. I've never formally met you. He goes, okay, great. Yeah, please. Which I did. Showed up at the funeral, introduced myself, met his wife, met his daughter who was sitting with him. And then it was like, at this point, I'm watching the slideshow, and there's not a picture of Jonathan and Suzy at all. And I'm getting sick in my stomach. And I'm like, oh, this is not good. They have omitted him completely out of the picture.
Well, if you've heard my podcast about the funeral, you know how horribly Jonathan and Suzy were treated there. Not only were they seated far away from the family and banned from the stage, but Pastor Jensen Franklin indirectly confronted them in his sermon, shaming.
So Jury is saying that Jonathan and Suzy were banned from the stage. Who banned Suzy and Jonathan from the stage? Do we have evidence that you see, it's just like, Jury, what are you doing? Okay, be that as it may, no. Joni planned her funeral, and it went accordingly as to exactly what she wanted. Everybody who spoke there, they just didn't go up there and speak. Okay? That's what John wanted, and that's what happened. You don't have to like it, and that's what happened. Okay? Joni is the one who did not want Jonathan. Remember, Suzy and Jonathan already tweeted saying they were not even informed that she was sick. So all of a sudden, I was just like, this is, come on, guys. Okay? Not only that, like I said at the beginning, right? I do believe that Joni might have said Jonathan should reconcile. If he reconciles, let him come back to Daystar. And that I would believe. Not that he will be in charge of Daystar. You see what I'm saying? If everything is fine, he's proven that he's repentant and everything, yeah, it's good to have all the siblings working together over there at Daystar. But in the leadership style, I don't think so. I absolutely don't think so. Right now, you already have Rachel, Torres, and Josh. So now we have this situation whereby they are saying that Suzy and Jonathan, right? They had this conversation with Tom Callender, but they don't want to disclose that. And yet they are putting a statement to clarify what was reported. And who was doing the reporting is Julie Royce. So do you guys get the picture over here? Anyway, I'll let her speak here.
Critics of Joni. So clearly, Tom was open at one point to reconciliation between Jonathan and his sisters, but it seems like his sisters were not so taken with that idea. And when they, I can only guess, gave him a lot of pushback, he apparently did sort of a 180. And then he sent the following text on May 20th at 11:39 a.m. So this would have been 2 days after the funeral. And he says, "Please correct your statement immediately that you spoke to the head of the board and that I said anything to you about what Joni's last wishes were. I did not share any such statement with you." So according to the text he sent, this never happened. And this was absolutely shocking to this woman. She said she could not believe it. And she sent back to Tom, like, "What are you talking about?" Like question marks. And again, he stuck with it. So again, something really happened in between the time that she talked to Tom before the funeral, then he talked to the girls, and then the funeral happened. Of course, this has been a
Guys, so do you see what's happening over here, okay? Come with me, follow me here. Suzy told Julie Royce that Suzy and Jonathan spoke to Tom Callender. Why is Julie Royce putting information about another third-party lady who also spoke to Tom Callender? Wouldn't you want to put the information that Jonathan and Suzy directly heard from Tom Callender? Because Suzy and Jonathan are the subject. You understand what I'm saying? So why are you wasting time with a third party? Why can't you print out with what Jonathan and Suzy heard directly from Tom Callender? So when you're presenting this issue, it'll be Tom Callender said this to Jonathan and Suzy. And oh, by the way, Jonathan is very good at recording. Just produce the recording. So it does not matter whether Tom Callender spoke to that lady or not, it'll be besides the point, right? At the very least, Tom Callender spoke to Jonathan and Suzy, according to this information. All they could have done is just release the recording. And if you're telling me that Jonathan and Suzy did not record that phone call, then I'm like, wait a minute. They record everything. So on this day where Tom Callender was giving them news that you guys, you're going to be the president of Daystar. You're going to be the first lady to the president of Daystar. They didn't record that recording? Are you guys following this story? So now Julie is going to print a story that has already been debunked from the original source. So if that story has been debunked from the original source, then print the story from Jonathan and Suzy. At the very least, then it is going to be Tom Callender denying with Suzy, right? And even if Tom Callender denies, Suzy and Jonathan, they will just show their phone records. You see what I'm saying? Here's a phone call. It took place on this day and this time, and this is the phone number, and this is Tom Callender's phone number. Tom Callender will have no reason to deny anything. So now Julie is presenting like, oh, Tom Callender flipped after Tom spoke to Rebecca and Rachel. Wait a minute. You know what I mean? If Rachel and Rebecca don't want to reconcile with Jonathan, remember guys, Joni wanted to reconcile with who? With Jonathan. And what did Jonathan do? Jonathan denied. Jonathan said no, he did not want reconciliation. So all of a sudden, Jonathan is shocked that the sisters, they don't want reconciliation. So now because the sisters, they don't want reconciliation, now Rebecca and Rachel, they are the monsters. Jonathan denied reconciliation with Joni. I didn't see any uproar on that issue. So now Jonathan can see, oh, wait a minute. So other people can also reject your reconciliation, just like you rejected your own mom. So how is that, Jonathan? You see where this is going, right? Like you forgive. We are to forgive. We are Christians. We forgive. We want to reconcile. Those are the things, right? Is Jonathan getting any lesson from here? After how you dragged your mother for all these years, your sisters were, they did catch some strays along the way. Now because you call them, they should just stop everything and jump on, oh, Jonathan and Suzy are here for reconciliation. And how can they trust if they respond to you for, oh, they know you're also recording and they don't want that to go out in the atmosphere? Already this information, right, it was supposed to be private. Somebody spoke to somebody, these people are going to reconcile, you keep quiet, let those things be cooking behind the scenes. We already know about it. So if you're Rachel or Rebecca, why would you be on the phone speaking to Jonathan and Suzy? You see, trust has to be earned. So far, whatever they're doing is not showing that. And Jonathan has already issued the statement. You haven't spoken to your sisters. They are the ones who know who gets what. Rachel is in charge of the will and everything else. You are out here putting a statement. Oh, these are the wishes that your mom wanted, that your dad want. Jonathan. Oh, those are the wishes. According to your father, according to your mother, long before you dragged Daystar. Okay? The will has been written. Things have been put in the trust. So whatever your father and your mother wish, it's just a wish. Okay? You need to have proof, legal documents, and you're not in possession of any of those things. And guess who's in possession of those things? Da-da-da-da-da. Rachel Lamb. I'm sitting here, guys. Are you following what I'm saying, guys? What is your take? I'll continue to play. Take a look at the comments. Let me know what you guys think. Because to me, I'm just so confused. You're building, man.
Heartbreaking to Jonathan and Suzy. Here's a grieving son who didn't even get to see his mother before she died. And given the state of their relationship, any kind word, any hint that his mother still loved him, still thought of him, would mean the world to Jonathan. And Suzy told me what Tom did and continues to do, apparently being unwilling to share this conversation directly with Jonathan and Suzy, is, as she put it, pure evil. I asked Jonathan for
why should it be pure evil that Tom doesn't want to share any information with Jonathan and Suzy? Tom is not part of the family, guys. Tom signed an NDA. If Jonathan wanted to hear the issue about the mother was sick, everybody knew John was sick. You live across from the street, your mom. How come you didn't go and see your mom? Why didn't you go and see your mom? For years, you didn't go and see your mom. Everybody saw your mom wasn't doing well on TV. Didn't that set off your alarms to be, let's go? And according to their own testimony, they knew that their mom had health issues. How come you didn't check on your mom? How come you didn't text your mom? Did you try to call your mom? At least you can be saying, I called so many times, she never returned my phone call. I texted her, she never responded. That is not the situation. So now, all of a sudden, everybody should be jumping to your tune. For what? Precisely what? Where were you when other people were carrying your mother's casket? Where were you when other people were on the bedside on your mom? Hello? Where is Jonathan's responsibility as the firstborn son? After all, your mama is a Jezebel. After all, your mother covered up everything. So now what is it that you want? Oh, it was Daystar also that covered up everything. So what do you want, Daystar? The machine that covered up everything. Why do you want that? Do you see? So what is the concern about here? Is it about all these other things or something else? So now your sisters are the monsters now? Your sisters are monsters right now? They're the ones who stood by your mom. When you are out here broadcasting everything else, they never weathered. They stayed there for better, for worse. So sorry, dude. You lost it. And it's your own doing. You are just reaping what you sowed. Like I said, foolish wisdom from foolish women. This is what this is exactly what you're going to get. Don't be blaming Tom Callender. Tom Callender is the one who was there. I just played to you guys the video. Told Jonathan, oh, this is yours. You need to, submit, learn. You refused all those things. They gave you wisdom. You did not want to buy it. So don't blame Tom Callender right now. Tom Callender is not in the world. Tom Callender is not, he's no longer an officer over there, part of the executive, whatever the case may be. And even if he was, that's not his job. That's not his responsibility. Okay? Your mom put things in the trust. Your mom put things in your ear, in the will. So go out there and fight with the will if you can. That's it. Right now, you have no leg to stand on, dude.
Comment on all of this, and he gave me the following statement. Learning that my mother's dying wish was for me to return to leadership at Daystar is both healing and deeply confirming. The estrangement between us was one of the most painful seasons of my life, and knowing that her heart moved toward restoration in her final days brings me a peace I didn't expect to feel so soon. Her wish aligns with what my father communicated to our family and the board in his succession plan. Both of my parents in their final days pointed in the same direction. Most importantly, it is a calling God planted in me when I was a child. This was never about ambition or title. It's about faithfulness to a calling my parents recognized and that I have never walked away from, even in the hardest moments. Families experience pain. Relationships become strained, but God is big and his grace is greater than all of it. My desire is to honor my parents, to seek peace where peace is possible, and to see Daystar flourish for generations to come. I am hopeful that the board will honor what my mother asked for and what my father asked for before her. Daystar has never belonged to any one person. It belongs to God. With a mission they sacrifice so much to advance. I trust the board will carefully consider the legacy my parents left behind and the future they hope to secure. I remain ready to serve. Well, my interview with my guest continues, and in the next clip, you'll see that she has a sympathetic, though realistic view of Joni. According to her, Joni was godly, and you heard her say this before, until she married Doug. But then she began to change under what she felt was sort of Doug's spell. And during her last few days, Doug took Joni out of the country for treatment, and she actually died miles away from her children. Here's what this woman said.
We were completely blown away when we heard she was down in Mexico at the Oasis of Hope and died in Mexico.
Wait, she died in Mexico?
Yeah, she died in Mexico. Her last 4 days of life. They took her to Mexico on a Monday. She died on Thursday. So he took her out of the country, away from the kids, because on that morning before her death, the two girls are on Daystar laughing and talking. They don't have a clue. Mom's dying. And I know he took her cell phone and was in control of it because Joni would text me back and forth, and you know how you know someone's text? And I sent her a text saying, we hear you are really sick. God, please call us. And the text, which would not be Joni would have said yes, okay, or no, I can't. It'd been more personal, but it was very cold text that said, I tried everything. I'm like, I read that and went, that doesn't sound like Joni. I've tried everything, that's not her. And I thought, Dad has her cell phone. He's not even letting her call anybody. He's not letting her talk to anybody.
So, how does she know that, guys? Okay, how does she know that Doug is not letting Joni speak with everybody? Once again, Doug is the villain over here, right? And yet, Joni says, love Doug and all that. You were not there. So, well, Macintosh is getting too low. You have a few more minutes before it stops. Okay, guys, it's giving me warning over here. So if it shuts, it shuts. What was I saying? I forgot what I was saying. Anyway, Joni was out of the state for treatment, whatever the case may be, right? Doug is the husband to Joni. So whatever Doug wanted to do in terms of this is where I'm going to take my wife for treatment, this, that, and third, legally, he can do that. That's his wife. Nobody else can dictate those affairs, okay? You don't have to like it, but there's nothing wrong for Doug to do that. That was his wife. If he felt like, you know what, I want to take my wife to Mexico, I want to take my wife to Japan, I want to take my wife to China, it doesn't matter. You might not like it. You don't have to like it. But because he is the husband, he can do as he please, okay? And if Doug has done something that is wrong, whatever is criminal and everything, report that to the authorities and they will do an investigation. That's it. They'll do an investigation. So, like, realistically, I'm like, guys, think through about these things, okay? So, if, what's the name? The Redwood guy received the text. John told her, you know, I'm in the fight of my life. And then this text is saying, you know what, I've tried, I've done everything. And according, they say they tried everything medically, you know, things just didn't work. So, okay, if the message was called, why was the message called? And clearly, you do have a big mouth. What if John is aware that you do have a big mouth and that was the case? Whatever the case may be, you cannot make all this conclusion just via a text message, you know? You need to have more evidence than this. All right, let's continue.
So my thought is Tom had to be in her presence before Doug took her out of the country on Monday to Oasis of Hope in Mexico, where she died.
So just an incredibly sad situation where Joni, here she is, dying, and apparently has gone to Mexico, has not told her family. She's apparently seeking, from what I understand, some sort of alternative treatment. Her family doesn't even know about it. Her kids don't even know, apparently, according to this source. And then she's texting, and apparently Doug's fielding her calls. We don't know that for sure, but again, that's what my guest suspected. And it may have been that Joni was so sick that she couldn't answer her calls. We don't know. But the thought that someone in the very last days of their life would be, I know my hope is in those very last days, I'm surrounded by my family, and they're all there. I was there when my mother died, and all of us were around her bed, all of us kids and grandkids, and it was sad, but it was beautiful to be with her. I know that's what I want, but the thought that Joni was all alone in Mexico with Doug, apparently, just really, really sad. And there is one thing you notice at the end, she's trying to figure out when that conversation with Tom and Joni took place. Clearly, my guess didn't get the information that Jonathan and Suzy got from Tom, which was exactly when it happened. It happened 3 weeks before she died. So my guess ended with a very sobering message that what's happened at Daystar, the family division, the heartache, and the embarrassment to the cause of Christ, none of it had to happen. It was a result of tragic choices made by someone who compromised.
And all of that could have been prevented if she hadn't have taken another husband. You can't do that and think God's going to wink at it. You just can't do that. On your position, he says, to whom much is given, much is required. She tied God's hands from acting on her behalf. He was standing by at any moment. Joni, just repent. Come on. I want to help you. Just repent. But she had so much shame.
Guys, nobody can tie God's hands, okay? Joni was free to marry whosoever she wanted to, only in the Lord, okay? So married Doug, divorce, adultery is not unpardonable sin. I get it, their marriage very controversial and stuff like that. But to say that, Joni tied God's hands, that's unbiblical, okay? That's absolutely unbiblical. They haven't announced as who is the president of Daystar right now. On the executive board is just Rachel, Arnold Torres, Josh. Okay, but they haven't announced as to who is now the president. Yeah, so obviously, if Daystar, if Jonathan becomes president of Daystar, trust and believe, Josh will be fired immediately, like yesterday. Okay, for sure. He will be fired immediately yesterday. Everybody knows that, right? But Jonathan, I don't think Jonathan is going to be the president of Daystar. There's so much stuff that has happened that he's just lost. Even the video that I was playing, even Joni testified that Rachel works harder than everybody. She works harder than everybody. She's very good at what, at her work over there. They all have like different gifts. I think Rebecca is good on camera. Rachel is good in marketing, stuff like that. And Jonathan is good with administrative work. That's what even Joni said that. And she wished all of them could actually work together when I played that particular video. So it looks like all those other things, Jonathan did a lot that if I was Rachel, I'm not bringing Jonathan back to Daystar. I'm just not doing it.
She knows the word. Joni knew the word. She had so much shame that her best friend, closest friend, had no idea. I said to her, why do you think she hid that from you? She goes, I don't know. I said, I'm going to tell you why I think. I can only tell you what I think. She's so guilt-ridden. She felt so ashamed. She didn't want to come out. She knew what people would say. And she was hoping against hope she could pull through this without anybody ever knowing. Because one of her last words to her son, and she knows it, the Holy Ghost let her know it, the Holy Ghost brought those words back to her, I know this. Let God judge between me and you, Jonathan, who's right. Mm-hmm. Isn't that sad? Mm-hmm. This is the saddest story. This is so stinking sad, and it all could have been avoided. But she was vulnerable, and it is what it is.
And I want to just clarify one thing. When she said Joni took another husband, I think she meant to say another woman's husband. It's not a sin to get remarried after your husband dies. But again, what is marrying somebody who just divorced his wife for 30 years, and it doesn't really sound like Doug Weiss had grounds for that. And these not biblical grounds. And so, again, this was a deep sin that my guest felt was the undoing of Joni Lamb. And sometimes I have to say, as I'm watching this Daystar saga, I feel like I'm almost watching a Greek tragedy unfold in real life. Like, clearly, Marcus and Joni Lamb were complicated people. They had good sides at times, displayed deep devotion to God, but they also had really serious character flaws. And Marcus had this 7-year sexual relationship with a woman under him at Daystar. I don't even call it an affair, because when you're the boss and Daystar supposedly is a church, that's adult clergy sexual abuse. Like, you have no business being involved with someone under you, let alone the fact that he was married and had children. I mean, it was just so wrong. And for 7 years, I mean, that's a pretty, that's living in deception for a really, really long time. What he did was absolutely abhorrent, and it did so much harm to his family and ministry. And then Joni, according to Jonathan, she buried allegations of sexual abuse and then married a man who discarded his wife for 30 years. I mean, these actions were unconscionable, and they caused so much pain and division in the Lamb family. Yet Scripture also says, and this is why those of us who are believers, is that love covers a multitude of sins, that Christ died on the cross, took our sins so that we might know him, right? So that we might be forgiven of our sins. And all we have to do is confess our sins. You know, I can only hope that Joni in her final days confessed her sins before God, that she repented. But one thing that really I know is offering a lot of comfort to Jonathan right now is that Joni apparently was thinking of her son. Whether or not he should lead Daystar is a separate issue. And I've shared my personal feelings about what I feel is a so-called ministry, Daystar TV, that it really is being run and was run as a family business. But for Jonathan and Suzy's souls and personal peace, Tom Callender absolutely needs to tell them the truth about his meeting with Joni. This is just basic human decency. And if Rebecca...
Tom Callender signed an NDA, okay? So Tom Callender he knows, okay? He signed an NDA in 2024. And if you're discussing things that have to do with Daystar, the same NDA that Jonathan refused, Tom Callender was part of it, right? He signed it. So even if he wanted to say certain things, he might not be able to, because that would just put him in legal trouble, in legal jeopardy. Okay, to me is what I see. In fact, even if Tom Callender was to tell Suzy, yes, this is what your mom said and everything else, that will not mean anything, guys. Okay, we are talking about assets. Okay, I think like Daystar brings in, is it 125 million a year? Okay, John was worth 40 million, and I think some of it we just had like 10 million in tangible assets, things of that nature. So this is a big organization. You just can't not leave that type of big organization just by your word. Okay, just by your word. Yeah, whatever it is, like it's a ministry. In fact, yes, it is a non-profit organization. So you cannot leave it to somebody, later on to a family member, right? So you're always going to have the board, it'll run like that. You know the point, but everything there runs like a business. Be that as it may, whatever Joni said, okay, and let's grant it's actually what Joni actually said with her own mouth on her dying bed, because that is it's not binding. There's no proof that she said that, okay? You need, is there a will that she signed? Is there a document that she signed? Are there lawyers involved? Then that's fine. If you don't have any of these things, that cannot happen. Guys, people lose their inheritance because their parents did not write any will, and then the stuff goes to the state. Why do you think that happens? Because there was nothing that was put in writing. You know what I'm talking about. So, but Joni put things in a trust. Joni wrote a will. And we already showed it the other day, guys, okay? On a will, Rachel is in charge. If Rachel cannot execute the duties of it, then Rebecca. That's it. Even Doug is not named as in charge of Joni's will. So if Doug as a husband is not named, okay, Jonathan is not even named. Jonathan is just named, my husband is Doug Wise. I have 3 children, Jonathan, Rachel, and Rebecca. This will be, the executor is Rachel. If Rachel, for some reason, she cannot do those things, then Rebecca will do it. That's it. So the idea of, okay, this is what was given at the deathbed, then tomorrow, Daystar keys will be given to Jonathan. No. All these ambulance chasers, how come they're not coming into the rescue of Jonathan? You know how much money Daystar is worth? Okay? Yeah. So if Jonathan, Daystar is yours, then tomorrow show up at Daystar. Let's see how that's going to work for you. Huh? Yeah. Yeah. So, no, it's to me, he will need more proof than a word. And if the issue is coming down to Tom Callender, my goodness, Tom Callender, we already listened to the tape. That was Tom Callender himself is the one who sent Jonathan packing from Daystar. So I don't know, guys. Okay, I've watched way too many movies. Yes, he can just do that, start his own ministry and everything. Yeah. So to me, what I'm saying is this, right? I'm not against Jonathan going back to Daystar. I very much want them to reconcile. But what I'm saying is the people are running with this information as if is a bulletproof that Daystar belongs to Jonathan. And Jonathan is even running with it, issuing statement that, oh, finally, I'm so happy my mom left Daystar to me. So your mom could not put you in her own funeral program, but your mom put you in charge of Daystar. All right, so yeah, those are the things. Yeah. It'll be good to see him go back to Daystar, wake with his siblings, reconcile, and just move forward. And literally just move forward. So this is the Tom Calendar in question, okay? So this is Tom Calendar. Listen to what Tom Calendar actually told Jonathan, okay? On November 16th, 2023. Listen to this.
We called you back in here for time to talk to you, and we'd give you 24 hours from the time we signed this. That's roughly 2:30 to 3 o'clock tomorrow. If you can sign that, come back in to Arnold's office, sign the piece of paper, okay? Read it, be comfortable with it, and then sign the piece of paper tomorrow. You have until basically, I say 3 o'clock. That's 24 hours from the time we sign it. If you do not do that, then you are removing yourself from the board and removing yourself from your vice president position, and you are then an employee. You're still an employee. That's where we are. Now, technically, we had to pass a motion to do that because technically you were gone. You had already removed yourself
you
from the board.
dismissed me.
Well, because you did not do it. Technically, you removed yourself from the board.
I didn't remove
Technically,
myself.
you
You
removed yourself
dismissed
from
me.
vice president. At her request, we passed a motion to give you 24 hours to reconsider. Before you get your letter from Daystar telling you that's what the situation is. Now, you with me? You understand?
I understand.
So until 3 o'clock tomorrow, you have to go home, pray, talk, do whatever you want to, then come back into Arnold's office and read that until you're comfortable to sign it or not sign it.
Okay.
And if you sign it, then you're bound by it just like the rest of them. If you don't sign it, you have removed yourself from the board and removed yourself from the officer of Daystar.
I wouldn't have removed myself. That would be her decision.
That's the
No,
effect of
that's
not
yours.
signing.
That's the effect of you not signing it. You did it.
What he said is this board didn't remove you. Your decision not to sign this is what's going to remove you.
So that is the Tom Calendar in question, okay? So, Jonathan, I don't know, guys. I don't know, okay?
We're talking about. It can't be done by one side. So you gotta approach each other. Somebody's got to take one step, and then the other person will take a step. That's how you rebuild trust in relationships. And so that's really what I think. I'm oversimplifying what you said, but that's really what it boils down to. I mean, as soon as she sees that you're willing to step back one step towards her, she's going to take one back, and eventually it'll be back, maybe better than before. Who knows?
And don't allow God's conviction that He places in you to become a tool to judge other people by. Judgmentalism is the worst thing that you can do, period, if you know that. So don't let a conviction that you have come out, because that's already meant for you. Okay? Come out as judging someone else because something different.
The ultimate breach of trust, of course, was when Shannon put a tracker in my car and then he lied about it. Did you instruct him to do that?
There was trackers in all the vehicles, and there probably were batteries that need to be replaced in yours. But at that point, you're acting so weird and about everything that those people are loyal to me, and they have seen the aberrant behavior and just the craziness going on. So there was no malice. And you have, like I said, I have one in my car. Every Daystar vehicle has one. So you're making a mountain out of a molehill concerning that, and it's a Daystar vehicle.
Did you instruct Shannon to put one in the car?
Actually, Shannon had the idea, and I said, that's fine, because I have one in mine. We should put them in all the vehicles.
When did you have yours put in your car?
Mine was in there around the same time as yours.
Which was when?
I don't remember. But they both were in there. What I'm saying is...
Don't you think if you're trying to rebuild trust, you would inform someone that you're tracking their vehicle?
You were at a point to where I didn't trust you. And so I'm not going to have those conversations with you, and hopefully we can get past that.
So you're going to put it... that's not how you rebuild trust.
Well, I didn't trust you.
What are you going to seek to gain by putting...
She wasn't trying to rebuild trust at that time because you weren't indicating that you were ever going to be willing to do it working from your side. I have no idea what.
There were long periods of time when you were gone for the building, and nobody knew where you were. And so you were calling lawyers, talking to people, building evidence, keeping emails, taping private conversations. So that wouldn't give me confidence to have trust. So this is a Daystar vehicle. We had every right to put a tracker in there. It's not. I don't feel that way now after this conversation, but I do.
Do you like?
We can stay on this for 20 more. Questions.
Do you track all my phone records and stuff? Do you look through all those?
I don't track all your phone records.
So you do?
I said I don't track all your.
I know, but see if you track some of them.
Well,
you don't even track anybody.
I can track anybody's phone records.
So how do you rebuild trust if you're going to do something like that?
By the time this isn't going to get resolved, it hasn't moved an inch. I hope that you'll go home and open your heart to the Spirit and listen to the Lord. You have until 3 o'clock tomorrow.
one thing I want you to address before he leaves is that I feel like sometimes we get a little light in the darkness that breaks through. And I know y'all felt it. I felt it.
Oh, I saw it. I felt it when I was holding on to
Because I mean, it was just total shut down. So what happens, I feel like, is when we have these moments where you hear my heart, that if you would have been in my position, you would have done the same and probably much more and been a lot more harsh than I've been. But I found that when you go home and you relay whatever to Suzy, that you come back with that same heart that's, again, where the enemy uses your belief and you're strong, that I'm not going to do this, I'm not, And so all I'm saying is, be the head of your house and share this in a way with wisdom, led by the Holy Spirit. And I wanted you to speak to that because I know you've seen what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Since she hasn't had the advantage of being in the room with the Holy Spirit like we have, okay? She still has the hardened heart that you had that you came in with. And when you go home, in my opinion, you're...
So did you hear Joni actually said, you've been recording, doing all these other things, I don't trust you. That's why they had put those trackers, trying to find out you're speaking to reporters, doing all this information. And said, when you go home, you look like you've learned something, but when you go home, you speak to Suzy, then you go back to your hardness of heart. So Joni said, go and speak with wisdom and everything else. So even Joni and these guys, the board even noticed the same thing. So now Tom is the one who's actually trying now to speak to Jonathan. And even John say, you be the head of your household. So why is John telling that to Jonathan, you be the head of your household, if Jonathan was already the head of his household? So now Tom wants to add in some wisdom to Jonathan. Take a listen.
Your heart is cracked a little bit, okay? But when you go home, that hardened heart has a tendency to close yours back up again. And you come back right back to where you are. And you come back. We left when you went to your football fantasy. I don't know how you're doing. I hope you're doing good. We left the meeting here in a similar situation where there was an openness, there was a desire, there was a feeling, there was something. But by the time you got in the car the next morning, it was gone. I could feel it. I could receive it as a spirit. I mean, just like you were. What's Joni's? And I'm just telling you what happens. Okay, I'm fixing to fight. I mean, I'm a war. I'm right, and everybody else is wrong. Okay, and I've been wrong, and I'm gonna make sure everybody changes and accepts my wrongness, that I've been wronged, and whether I was or not, that's how I feel. Okay, that's how you come back. So when you go home with Suzy, be Jesus to her. Feel her pain and minister to her pain and her hardened heart more than yourself. It's your job to minister to her, to help her see that her heart's been hardened, that there truly is love for her, there truly is desire for a family relationship with her involved in it. It's your job to minister to her and help her come back. We're to present our bride spotless before the Father. That's our job. And we can only do that if we minister at her feet as Jesus did. Don't wash your feet. Wash the pain away. That's your purpose. And as you do that, God will heal your heart. Because you're giving love, then your love grows. That's what will happen in your marriage. Now, I don't want that thing signed to protect your job. I want that thing signed because your heart has changed. And you are 100% on board with the vision of Daystar and supporting the CEO and your mother in this business. Don't you dare sign it to protect your job. Because the only thing you'll do is it'll wind up eating you up. And it will get you down the road. So don't you dare do that unless there's a heart change tonight. But go home and minister. To that little gal that I'm telling you, I fell in love with her. She needs ministering too.
So that was actually Tom Callender, okay, giving Jonathan good, solid wisdom there. Go home and take care of business, okay? Go home and take care of business. So is that what Jonathan did? You ask me? No. I'll say no. I'll say no. That's not what he did. So what a shame, man, how all these things have ended. It's so sad that this is the story of this family. I don't know. I see this as it's more like a tragedy to me. Okay. They did have an opportunity to sort things out, but...
And she said, Arnold, call Jonathan. Call John and ask him to come up here so that he does not walk out of this building with any confusion as to what we're doing here. Now, that's what she...
Yeah, the mother did try to facilitate things for Jonathan. I hope you say it. And how he ended up putting, this information out to the public, stuff like that, it did not help matters. If anything, when you're listening to this, you're listening to the things, it actually makes it like, Jonathan, yes, there might have been things your mom wronged you and everything, but you being the CEO of Daystar, after all this, they should crown you as a CEO of Daystar. It'll be like they're rewarding bad behavior from a CEO.
There day and night looking for something to make nothing. I mean, I read one of them that took what you said and they turned it into, well, there's a schism up there and it's all about money. They're fighting over money up there.
Like a podcast or something?
Yeah. I mean, we know that's a lie, but I mean, it's just crap like that, that's out there that people are trying to make something out of day in, day out, and that's why everything that goes out, you're not just when your dad was here, you had a different way people looked at you in terms of what you say on your Facebook and this and that. Now it has a different impact because you have a different role, and it's like I said a while ago, the enemy's got a man on you now. And the way everything. So I guess what Joni, I hate to interrupt, but what she was saying was if all our heads had been got together about it, you would have had something that you liked. It would have been fine, and we would have all kind of worked and pitched our 2 cents in
tried to work
about
together.
how to avoid
that was part of
consequences.
trying to come together. And they will tell you that even during all of this process, in making decisions, there were times, I had certain thoughts, but they would talk with me individually together, but we would all come to a decision in unity because we really wanted to be led by the Holy Spirit. And all the things we've done with new acquisitions of TV stations, of what we would charge, or, and the Lord showing us exactly how much we should pay or whatever. You and I worked together on that, and a lot of times you'd say I had the same number, and that just shows the continuity of like minds who have nothing to gain except doing the will of God. And that the Lord knows that is my heart. Because heart's
always unity when the Spirit's in charge. Always.
I think that one thing that it comes down to, Jonathan, in terms of you doing what we're talking about, how you make yourself the best, most important, or most valuable employee here over a period of time, that we all know that you don't, we all know how you feel about the marriage and the divorce and Doug and all that kind of stuff, okay? But that's part of how you're just going to have to figure out how to filter that in your life to where it doesn't become, you're going to have to deal with it where it doesn't interfere with you becoming great for Daystar and it doesn't build such a, it's kind of like you're going to have.
Yeah, you're correct. I do think there is something about Suzy and Joni, okay, being something, yes, they definitely have something in common. I know what you mean. I know what you mean by that, okay? So I do think there was a struggle that was happening over here, okay? All Jonathan could have done was just do your job, be patient. Daystar was his for the taking, and Suzy would be the first lady of Daystar. But they were too hungry for power, and they wanted to undermine Joni because they were not pleased with the introduction of Doug. So, because they were so eager to undermine Joni, get rid of Doug, Joni was in love with Doug. So they exposed themselves, and Joni saw them for what they are. Because even Joni said, you know what? Because of all these things that have happened, they've shown me that my son is not, he's not ready to lead Daystar. Because if Daystar was his, but he was willing to throw Daystar under the bus, and yet this was your inheritance, that shows, okay, if you can do this, you're capable of destroying this, your ministry that your mommy and dad built, right? Their business that they built. So, yeah, he lost trust in that. And plus all these things happened publicly. People saw it. The leadership saw it over there. That's why Joni made all those changes. If those tapes didn't come out and everything, Joni would not have made any changes. Jonathan would have just assumed power and then fire whosoever he wanted to fire. So because he did that, it actually costed what he wanted. In his mind, he thought he would be successful in blackmailing his mom. He would be successful in taking Daystar through power. It didn't work. It literally didn't work. It backfired. Joni's gone, ruined the relationship between the two, couldn't say goodbye to his mom. So at the end of the day, was it worth it? You can have Daystar and then lose the relationship with your siblings. You can have Daystar, lose your mom. It didn't work out as he thought it would, if you ask me. Very, very unfortunate. Yeah. So whatever Tom Callender said or did not say, Tom Callender signed NDA, and that did not, that's not going to work. Yeah, they wanted him to sign an NDA. Let's not forget about the essay. Yes, no, two wrongs don't make it right. Absolutely, two wrongs don't make it right. The issue over here, they conflated two things at the same time. And things did not work out. Okay? The essay issue happened. They didn't do anything about it until they left Daystar. The authorities investigated. There was no evidence. Nobody was charged. Okay, nobody was charged. So okay, this person did this to your daughter, but you're going on vacation with this person. You guys are doing things together. So yeah, there's a lot of things that happened that their child was not a priority. Jonathan being the president of Daystar was a priority, unfortunately. Oh no, it is not a good organization by any stretch of imagination. Yeah. There were enough asses in Daystar to make all three children. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah, all those things were there. But, Jonathan, with what he did, the mother was not pleased. So he cut himself off that. So now he wants to get to Daystar via back door, saying, oh, this is what my mom said on her deathbed. Well, you need to have proof of that. You need to show legal documents if that's what happened. Oh, be more in the building. Good to see you. I saw Delaware. Okay, all the way Delaware. You neighbors with the President Biden? Joni tried her best. Suzy was the one, who kept the mess going. Jonathan was... Oh, shots fired, Cinderella. I know if they left Daystar with Jonathan. Oh boy, shots fired. Yes, so to me, the way they handled this issue, Jonathan and Suzy did not handle this well. Jonathan was the vice president of Daystar. He should have made decisions for Daystar, but he went home and make family decisions that affected his position at work. He could have separated, handle family business with family and handle business with business. They mixed family and business, and this is the result of it. So things did not work out in the end. Should have had their original programs and ministry and TV networks, a separate business. Renting airtime, they would have had to pay taxes on the network. Oh, it's a non-profit organization, so they don't pay taxes. It's a church, don't forget, right? Daystar is a church, so they don't pay taxes. So yeah, they can lose programmers and everything. Remember, in fact, Daystar is fully paid, okay? Daystar is fully paid. Marcus left good, took care of Joni financially, and Daystar is fully paid. Whatever they make over there is just for them to pay their bills, electricity, water, and pay their salaries and everything else. So they'll be fine. Yeah, absolutely, yes. Both sides were wrong, and all this they could have handled, behind the scenes. Yeah, Joni never let go of her son. And Jonathan never let go of his parents, right? When you marry, you leave your father and your mother, right? Then you cleave, you're doing things with your family. But Jonathan never grew up. All he knows was Daystar. All he knows was, you take orders from daddy and mommy. So now you take orders from daddy and mommy. You go home, your wife wants something else. It's a different input. Then that created conflict. And those are the things that actually will happen in a household. Yeah. So at some point, Joni should have seen, my son is an adult. I'm just going to let him, okay? If the wolves eat him, so be it, he can learn. But they raised him, but he never learned, okay? So when a person you're growing up with a silver spoon, you don't understand what life is, those are the things that are going to happen. So literally, that guy is waiting to be the president of Daystar. So I'm like, okay, how are you going to be the president of Daystar? You don't have any leg to stand on, legally speaking. They cannot just hand over to him Daystar simply because Daystar is a ministry. It's an organization. They have people in place. They have board members. They have a structure in place. They have to follow through. So Jonathan does not have any of those things. And his name is not mentioned in any of those things. So you and I can do the same thing. Why can't we claim that Daystar belongs to us? There's no difference. The only thing is just, okay, you're Jonathan Lamb. That's just about it. And Joni Lamb was your mom. Okay. Yeah, so what unfortunate. Yeah. Yes, so that was all mixed. And then you add in the daughter situation was also in there. Yeah. Yeah, things went bad. And I think Jonathan put all those things publicly because he wanted to force his mom's hand. And because John managed to survive that and Daystar did not, they didn't get destroyed, like what happened to Robert Morris at Gateway, there's no way they're going to let him back in. Like you did all these other things. It could have costed Daystar everything. Now we're just going to bring you back in and you be in charge of Daystar, the very same person who was trying to undermine Daystar at every turn. No way. Put yourself in the shoes of Joni. What would you do? Would you hand over keys to Jonathan if it was you? I know I wouldn't. Yeah. I definitely wouldn't do it. I definitely wouldn't do it. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Oh no, we're shutting it down, Sister Darlene. All right, guys, we did it, yo. I am so glad that you guys stopped by. Okay, I'm so glad that you guys stopped by. Let's continue this conversation in the comment section. Clear, this story is not going anywhere. Just when we thought it was over, stories that keep coming out. So I was just like, okay, I listened to the phone call. I'm just asking questions. Okay, so the lady spoke to you. You spoke to Suzy, and okay, so tomorrow Rachel and Rebecca are supposed to hand over the keys to Jonathan. Is that how things work? Of course not. So what are we doing here? And if Jonathan, if this is what you want, why don't you just hire a lawyer and present all these things and see what happens? Okay, so he knows he has no case. He has no case, no leg to stand on. All right, guys, I'm going to let you guys go. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for being here. Okay, we'll have more stuff coming this week. So absolutely stay tuned on your way out. Please like this live stream. And yes, guys, subscribe to this channel. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And oh, by the way, you guys, I want you guys, before you go, please subscribe to this channel, okay? We do have a channel, Chikunis and Chill, okay? I've been forgetting to plug this. So hold on, guys, before you move, okay? Please, please, please. I need subscribers, okay? This is Chikunis and Chill. Please subscribe. This is where we bring you stuff that I do with my husband, okay? My lovely husband, okay? A good husband of mine. He's a good man. He married me. So he, you have to be a good husband if you're going to marry Violet. So guys, hold on before you go, okay? Please, 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 please. I'm putting the link in there, okay? Just subscribe to that link. Subscribe, guys, okay? And we do have some videos over there. Just watch some of them, play a little bit of them, okay? Have you seen the link, guys? Please, before you go. Okay, that's the link right there. Chikunis and Chill. I've posted it. Terry, I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for being here, okay? All right, I put the link in there. How come it's not even showing up here? Oh, it's all the way at the bottom. Yes, guys, please subscribe to this channel, okay? Click there. So subscribe to Chikunis and Chill and leave me a comment over there to let me know that you subscribe, okay? So coming from BB, just put there, subscribe, coming from BB. You guys are the best. I do appreciate you guys. Thank you for being here. On your way out, please like this live stream. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And yes, subscribe to Chikunis and Chill, okay? More coming this week. Absolutely. Stay tuned. Enjoy your time. That is all that I had for you guys today. I hope you find this to be informative to you. Let's continue this conversation in the comment section and follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and subscribe to Chikunis and Chill. Until next time, remember, theology matters. Thank you.